Stand up, New York Giant fans. We're doing the StreamYard thing again. And of course, I got Baddog back on the channel. Baddog, how you doing, my man?
What's going on, brother? I'm doing well, hanging in there, living it one day at a time. I'm on vacation this week. Not that I left the house or anything. Well, I went running, but I didn't have to log into the computer this week, so it's been pretty nice.
Yeah, let's say hello to a couple of people in the chat. JP in the house, Jolly in the house, Isaiah, Pumpkin, of course, Thick. I've never seen him before. Thank you for tuning in the stream. Sports expert Aiden in here, AV Sports. Thank you guys for being here. What's going on? Jawad. What's going on, Afghanistan? Harrison Jolly, diehard Giants fan. Dennis Glynn. Thank you. Andrew Boyle, Swag Waffles. Try to say hello to as many of you guys as I can at the beginning. Frosty in the house. Gino in the house. Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. And I forgot, my God, because I'm not used to the StreamYard thing. I forgot to post Baddog's link. So if you guys could post Baddog's link throughout the stream, I would appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. Obviously, it's kind of a dead time right now, Baddog. We were talking before we went live. But there's a few things to definitely talk about. We're going to jump into a couple topics, some of the things that we did videos on. Oh, word, man. Thank you so much for love, man. I really appreciate it. Great subscriber, both of ours. Stand upward. And, yeah, obviously we both did the video. I think I did mine 3 minutes before yours. Great minds think alike, like we said in the comment. And, article from, I think it was Steve Serby of the New York Post. He talked to Cutcliffe, obviously Daniel Jones's old coach at Duke, and he kind of just reaffirmed what I forgot the other guy's name, but the quarterback coach for Duke talked about a couple of weeks ago, basically saying the same thing, that this guy is working his ass off. He said that he 10 hours a day. This guy's working during the offseason, and he likes everything that he has to, and he also thought that he fit the Garrett offense very well. So just encouraging stuff on the Daniel Jones front.
Absolutely. I mean, Daniel Jones ought to hang out with DeAndre Baker, teach the kid how to work a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, it's very encouraging. And, like we both mentioned in the video, I think that a lot of Giants fans expect him to take the big step forward. I think a lot of Giants fans believe Jason Garrett will be very good for him. I know I mentioned it that you saw what Garrett did with Romo, and they actually compared him to Tony Romo, which I didn't have a problem with at all. I mean, Tony Romo was a great quarterback, and he did a lot of improvisation. He wasn't really a scrambler. He could scramble if he wanted to, but he was more scrambling within the pocket to extend plays, make the throws down the field. And I think that you're going to see Daniel Jones be used more in your bootlegs, your play action passes, your RPO type things like they did with Dak Prescott, which will definitely give him another facet for the defense to think about, which is something Shermer did not do. I thought like in Tampa, he just played Daniel Jones football. He just played on instincts alone. And then I felt like Shermer told him, don't, you have to do it this way. And I feel like Jason Garrett's going to use his strengths. I think Daniel Jones is a big year this year.
I do think the more I think about it, the more, he might start off slow. It's a new system with everything going on, tough defenses early on. But I think once he gets accustomed to the system, I definitely think he fits the Garrett system very well. I did a video on this yesterday. You look at his accuracy last year on the deep ball. He was near the top of the league. He was top. What am I saying there? He was top. And then Jason Garrett's offense, it's an aggressive offense. It's going to be an offense that tries to get the ball down the field. The question that you got to have, one, is the offensive line going to be as good as we anticipate? And two, will the wide receivers be able to create more separation than they did last year? It's something that they kind of struggled with, right? Golden Tate didn't create the most separation. Even Darius Slayton, if you look at the analytics, did not create a lot of separation, which is a bit surprising for a guy with as much speed as he has. So maybe he gets better at the route running and things like that.
I think that what will help Darius Slayton a lot is having a healthy receiving core around him. I mean, Darius Slayton had to be our number one for a lot, so he's drawn the number one corner most of the time. I think if Shepard and Tate are healthy, obviously it's going to alleviate a little pressure off of Darius Slayton. But the thing is, neither Tate nor Sterling Shepard have got tremendous speed, so they're not really going to be able to get a lot of separation. Shepard is a good route runner, but, he's more of a slot guy. Tate's more of a slot guy. We really don't have another threat on the outside per se. But that's a good thing. Daniel Jones is very good in the tight windows. So, hopefully these guys do find a way to get separation. Maybe that, the game plan that Garrett comes up with will allow these guys to get separation. Maybe you run some pick plays or some rub plays or something to get these guys open in the middle of the field that they do, get away from a defender. And obviously if Daniel Jones is hitting these guys on slants and they're open because he's accurate, he's hitting them on the run, and then they can take off, that yak that they talk about, the yards after the catch, which Golden Tate's one of the best in the league at. So I can see them doing some things like that to get these guys free, maybe some picks and rubs in order to get off the that sounded dirty. Get off the line.
By the way, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for being here. I see everybody saying what's up. Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. But then the other thing that surprised me, and I saw you mention it in one of your videos like a week ago, and then when I did research, Dak Prescott in this offense last year, he was really efficient at throwing the ball down the field. He actually led the NFL in 40-yard completions and 20-yard completions. And I think he was third in completed air yards. That's a next-gen stat. The way they measure that is, I guess, where it's caught on the field. He had the third highest, and actually Daniel Jones right near the bottom of the league in that. So if you couple that with the fact that Daniel Jones was efficient when given the opportunity to throw the deep ball, you factor in that he's going to be throwing a lot more often this year, you would think that would lend itself to a lot more big plays for the New York Giants this year with this offense.
No, you would. And I think the reason that Daniel Jones' completion percentage was low is because of so many injuries, and he had a lot of drops. I mean, this is the same thing that happened to him with Duke. Again, he was right at the top of the country. He was one of the best, if not the best, deep ball thrower in the country at Duke. But we all saw that nobody caught the ball there.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with us here. There was so many drops. And, I feel like Evan Engram could be that guy. I feel like he could get some deep passes down the seam. I scream for that. You and I clamor for that every week. Play action pass, tight end down the seam. That's Giants football. That goes back to the Mark Bavaro days, and they were always able to do that. Even if it was Larry Donnell, Martellus Bennett, Jeremy Shockey, that was always a staple of Giants offense. Right. Somehow we got away from it with a guy that runs a 4.42 40. So I don't understand it. But, yeah, I think that you will see more deep passes, and I think that this year, hopefully we're healthy, and these are going to be completions. And, again, you start throwing the ball deep, it's going to open up your running game as well. So I expect good, big things from Daniel Jones, no doubt, especially with that accuracy down the field. It should lend itself to some big plays. And there's a misnomer. I mean, Cowboys fans are always, we don't run the ball. Jason Garrett just throws. Well, that's not true. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott had the second most carries in the NFL last year. It's just because the Cowboys run so many plays because they control the ball the whole time. They're able to run and pass a lot. Yeah. That's what the Giants got to do. That's what I'm excited about Jason Garrett bringing to this offense, is that instead of us, like you mentioned last week, getting 28 minutes on the field at time possession, we're getting 32.
Flip it. That's the key to this season. And Kyle, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. $2 donation. He says, hey, guys, bought the donuts. How about them Giants? Well, Kyle, man, I appreciate you with the donuts. I'm trying to watch what I'm eating, but I'm not doing a very good job during the pandemic. I got to get a lot better at that, but I appreciate the donuts. Hopefully you got a couple of Boston creams, and we got time with the $2 donation. I appreciate it, man. He says, what's up, fellas?
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, my man? And thank you to everybody for being here. I see Chris Sonor's in here. I'm going to do another shout out to everybody. Swag Wobbles, Chris Sonor, and we got time sports expert Jackson Plant. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. But yeah, I agree with you in terms of the tight end as well. It's another thing I'm really excited about with this offense is how they're going to implement the tight end. I think you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. We've talked about that in the past as well. I think Toyolo is going to be involved near the goal line. And yeah, I'm excited about this offense this year. Now, the biggest question for me is on the other side of the ball. But the offense is going to help that, like you just said, if they could control the clock, because I think we both agree going in, that's the bigger weakness to this team. Their defense is young, they're unestablished, and they could use all the help they could get with controlling the clock. But I wanted to talk about Darnay Holmes. I did a video on this today, and Deion Sanders came out, and Rod Woodson came out. Deion Sanders, arguably the greatest corner ever. Rod Woodson was a great corner and safety in his own right. Yes, and they both came out and said that he could be the steal of the draft at that position. The Giants get him in the 4th round. And everything you hear about this guy, not just from people from the Giants, but from people from the outside, guys like Rod Woodson, trained professionals, they're all saying that Darnay Holmes has an incredible work ethic. He's incredibly smart. We know he's athletic. He ran a 4.48. It's looking more and more likely, Baddog, that Dave Gettleman found another diamond in the rough late in the draft.
I'll tell you what, one thing that we noticed when we were streaming the draft is everything you heard about every draft pick, they're smart. Every one of these guys, they're smart, they're hard workers, they're learners. And that's exactly what Joe Judge wanted. Joe Judge wants to teach these guys. Darnay Holmes could be huge. I mean, that is a big position that we struggled at, was that nickel corner. And again, this is the reason, I wanted Isaiah Simmons, and a lot of Giants fans wanted Isaiah Simmons was to take away those quick slants and that stuff across the middle. Well, that's what Darnay Holmes is going to bring you. If he's a lockdown corner, and, I mean, I don't remember this game, to be honest with you, but somebody told me it might have been last night in this stream that Darnay Holmes pretty much shut down Hollywood Brown. Again, I don't remember that because Oklahoma walloped. He went to UCLA?
UCLA.
So I mean, they wallop Chip Kelly's UCLA. They do every year. So I probably didn't pay much attention to Hollywood Brown's stats, because Oklahoma's winning the game 52-28. I don't really pay much attention because CeeDee Lamb was probably tearing it up on the other side. But Hollywood Brown, obviously, it was a big time playmaker at Oklahoma, and a first round draft pick for the Ravens. So if he's able to shut down a guy that has 4.3 speed. Obviously, Darnay Holmes is doing something. And Hollywood Brown was an outside receiver. So it's not like, he was just running slants across the middle. So if he was able to shut down Hollywood Brown, that tells you that he can play at this level because Hollywood Brown's definitely, a professional receiver. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'm going to get more into him. I just want to shout out Greg, man. Thanks so much for the love. He says 0-16 fans versus we are winning the Super Bowl fans. And go. All right, let's talk a little bit more about that, and then we're going to get more into the Darnay Holmes talk. Yeah, I mean – yeah, you definitely – that's New York, man. At the end of the day, Greg, we have the most passionate fans in the world on both sides of the spectrum. You have fans that are incredibly pessimistic. You have fans that are incredibly optimistic. You have fans that think we're going to win the Super Bowl every year, and then you have fans who think we're going to go and win 16 every year. So that's just the way it works with sports, specifically in New York. I try to be grounded. I try to give you guys an honest perspective. Obviously, Baddog and myself are going to be slightly biased. We're New York Giants fans, so that's just in our DNA. That's in our blood. But we're going to try to be as unbiased as we possibly can. And at the end of the day, I think we're a 6 or 7 win team. But like I said in my video today, there's no reason to think that Daniel Jones can't get the job done. He showed that he could do it last year. I just don't. Obviously, he's not a finished product, but he showed he's got the ability to be a franchise quarterback next year. And I just laugh when people are already talking about, it's not just with the quarterback, it's with Gettleman too. They're already talking about moving on from these guys after next year if we win 1 or 2 games. And I'm like, pump the brakes, guys. Let's enjoy the process. Let's enjoy this kid growing up. It reminds me a lot of Eli Manning when he first came in. Everybody was talking about replacing him 2 or 3 years in. So, just be patient. Like I always express on my channel, just be patient.
Yeah, I mean, I did a video about Trevor Lawrence right after I did the other one today. And the reason being is people have been bringing that up. And it's not that, it's one thing that cracks me up about making videos on YouTube. I swear to God, people don't actually watch the video. They just read the title and they respond, or they don't listen to the video and they just type and they don't really know what I'm saying in the video. I never said we were going 2-14. I never said I wanted to replace Daniel Jones. But somebody asked me last night was, could the Giants draft Trevor Lawrence? And I said that doesn't really – it sounds extremely far-fetched. But with the scenario that the Giants are picking number 1 overall, that is possible. Because if we pick a number 1 overall, which I don't think we are, guys. I don't think we're going to. I said 6-10 with a ceiling of 9-7. We're not picking number 1 overall. But for whatever reason it happens, we're 2-14. Well, Gettleman ain't here.
Right.
And if Gettleman's not here, who's to say that the next GM says, I don't want Daniel Jones? We've talked about this ad nauseum. That when a new GM comes in, they want to build a team their way. And they didn't even have a new GM in Arizona. It was a new coach. And that coach said, to hell with Josh Rosen. I don't care if you traded a 3rd and a 7th round pick to move up 5 spots to get him a 10. I want Kyler Murray, number 1 overall. They took Kyler Murray. So it's not that I'm saying I want Trevor Lawrence, but if we're picking number 1 overall, that could happen.
It could. No, it could. If we move up from another GM, my guess would be the Giants would probably stay within house. But you're right. If we brought in an outside guy, and I mentioned that in my video, I just don't want to think about it going into the year. I don't want to move on from Daniel Jones. I think we got a guy, and I think we got so many holes on this team that need to be filled. Yeah, you could definitely argue maybe Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback prospect, but then you're starting from scratch again. You're paying Daniel Jones $7 million a year to sit on your bench. It doesn't add up to me. And then you trade him, but you're not getting near market value. You probably get a 2nd round pick for him if you're lucky, because teams know that you need to get rid of him. Jazzy TV, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, much love, fellas. Wish y'all the best and excited for our Giants versus Bengals matchup this season. We should collab on game week. I'm always open to having that's something I'm going to do this year, Jazzy TV. I want to have the week of the game. I want to have the team we're playing, if I can, every week. One of their YouTubers on my channel. So that's definitely something that I'm interested in. I'm sure Baddog is as well.
Yeah, so, I usually do that for our division, but it's hard to find guys outside the division.
Yeah, it is. But
yeah,
it is. But yeah, I'm definitely interested, Jazzy TV. And I do think you guys are going to be more of a challenge this year. I think Burrow will be better. I still think you're kind of rebuilding, and I think you'd probably agree with me, but Burrow is going to be an exciting quarterback for you guys. And LA Lou, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, what do you know about Graham's defensive scheme Is he going to employ blitz packages and stunts? The defense can thrive in a team-centric concept. Yeah, I did a film study on this, Lou. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it yesterday, and I'm not professional, but I tried my best. A lot of people asked me to do a video on that, and there is a lot of blitzing. They blitzed 41% of the time on third down last year, the Miami Dolphins, which was third in the league. They blitzed 35% of the time overall, which I believe was seventh. And they're a defense like the New England Patriots that's going to try to beat you with deception. They're going to try to beat you with their brain, and they're going to have a lot of different looks. They're going to show blitz, then they're going to drop back in coverage. They're going to make you think they're dropping back in coverage, and they'll send the blitz. And they send the blitz from all over the football field. They had a lot of different interesting packages that I saw in the film that I watched against the Eagles. But, I think that they're an unpredictable defense for sure, which is what Joe Judge wants on both sides of the football.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. And again, because we don't have that number one pass rusher that could just line up and get after the quarterback, we're going to have to create probably a lot of different blitz packages, a lot of different looks to get pressure on the quarterback, mix it up so that the quarterback can't pick out the mic, can't pick out where the blitz is coming from, and you got to surprise them. It's going to be the elements of surprise, especially with a younger defense and a lot of versatile players, which is something that the Giants really wanted to do. But it's not going to surprise me if you do see guys like McKinney blitz or Peppers or Darnay Holmes, if you start blitzing guys from the secondary, or maybe you're bringing both Martinez and Fackrell on a blitz. I mean, who knows? But that's what you want to do. You want to mix it up. You want to have different looks to try to confuse the quarterback, especially when you're playing against a guy like Dwayne Haskins, who I just don't think is very good. It's those type of quarterbacks you got to confuse. It's the younger quarterbacks that you got to try to confuse and give them different looks, even if they are in their second year. Like a guy like Joe Burrow, for example.
Right.
As great as you are in college, the defenses certainly aren't as complex as they are in the NFL. So Joe Burrow is a perfect example of a guy that you want to give a multiple amount of looks to so he doesn't know where it's coming or going. And that's what you want to do, is try to confuse the quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's not going to surprise me at all if we're able to get the job done that way. But I think that's what we're going to have to do, because, again, we're not just going to line up and Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams are going to come off the edge and get, 14 sacks piece. That's not happening. We're not Ingram. So we're going to have to apply pressure in different ways. And I think, the different schematics and formations and different areas that we blitz from are how we're going to get the pressure on the quarterback. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly how we work. I'm excited. I mean, I'm ready for football, man. I'm ready for anything.
I want to see roller hockey at this point. Sean Smith with the Fight All the Nation. He says, according to Dan Orlovsky, Jones has an issue throwing in zone and outside the numbers due to lack of arm strength. Do you think this is an issue? It's a great point you bring up, Sean Smith. I didn't get a chance to watch that video. I'm going to. I had several of my subscribers on Twitter point me to it. But the numbers suggest that he does have trouble, at least last year, throwing outside the numbers. I don't remember exactly what they were, but when he threw deep and he was accurate deep, almost all of his success was down the middle. He struggled on the sidelines, and maybe you could point to that. One thing I'll say, he might not have the best arm strength, but when he does throw deep, historically, both in college and in the pros, he's very accurate. But, I'll have to look at that video to be completely honest with you. But I think a lot of his problems last year had to do with the lack of separation from wide receivers. So I think he has enough arm strength. Does he have superior arm strength? No. But I think he has enough arm strength to make most of the throws that need to be made.
Yeah, and accuracy is more important than arm strength, in my opinion. I mean, guys, Colin Kaepernick had a gun, but he wasn't accurate. And we did, to bring up a baseball analogy, if you're throwing 100 miles an hour, but you can't get your curveball over the plate, you're going to get wrecked. If you're throwing that fastball over the middle of the plate, you're going to get. If you can't hit the corners, you're not going to be a successful pitcher. And it's the same thing in the NFL. I don't care how hard you throw. If you're throwing behind receivers or too high for receivers, it's not going to mean anything. So I'm encouraged by the accuracy. But one other thing we got to think about with Daniel Jones and throwing outside the numbers is, who was he throwing outside the numbers to?
Right.
He was out was out with the suspension. Shepard was out multiple games with a concussion. Coleman tore his ACL. So who was he throwing to? Was it Darius Slayton, and that was it? Russell Shepard. I mean, who is he throwing to deep? Cody Latimer. I mean, there's a reason, in my opinion. I don't think it's lack of arm strength. I think it's lack of wide receivers being able to get open outside the numbers. I think that's a big part of it as well. So hopefully they can improve on that. We know that we didn't go out and draft a big-time wide receiver. I love what they did in the undrafted free agent market, but there's a reason those guys didn't go drafted. So I don't know. He may struggle with that again this year for the simple fact that the wide receiving core is probably going to be the same.
Yeah, and not to mention that it's a new scheme. It's just, like we said earlier, it's a system that's going to, you would think, improve the deep ball efficiency for the New York Giants. Shermer's scheme was more short and intermediate routes. It was a West Coast style offense. So you got to factor that in as well. Mustard man, what's going on, my man? Thank you so much for letting me. I appreciate it. He says, what's up, guys? What's going on, Mustard And fix the D and O line with a $5 donation. He says, I bet Darnay Holmes doesn't see himself as only a slot corner. Give me a smart 5 foot. I think he's 5'10", 5'9" guy with heart over a taller guy who blows up meetings. And that's a very good point. A lot of my subscribers in my video said, don't be so quick to label this guy just as a slot corner. He obviously played on the outside, on the boundary throughout the course of his career at UCLA. But a lot of people think he's better fit due to his lack of height at the pro level at the nickel corner. But it's possible, especially if DeAndre Baker isn't back with this team, that maybe he is the guy that gets that opportunity outside. So, yeah, he could. He definitely has the speed to do it, Bad Dog.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and again, that goes back to him shutting down Hollywood Brown. But Hollywood Brown's not a tall guy either. He's about 5'10" himself. So, but incredibly fast. And again, a huge deep threat. He's able to shut him down. He can run with any wide receiver. We know that. But, you know, if you're not that we're going against Julio Jones, but if you're going a taller guy like that, obviously it's going to be a little bit more difficult when you're going against a guy at 6'4". There's only so much you can do when you're 5'10". But it's not going to be for lack of effort or lack of heart, that's for sure. And if DeAndre Baker's not here, I could definitely see him competing with Julian Love for the corner opposite James Bradbury. So, again, that's why you go out and you get these very versatile players, because obviously in the NFL, you're going to have injuries. No team is completely healthy. So you're going to say, you know, something we used to say back in the TTC back in 2008, because the Cowboys fans would always make fun or always use an excuse that they were injured. And I would tell them, listen, man, in 2007, we had guys in the practice squad in the secondary because Aaron Ross was hurt, Webster was hurt, like everybody was hurt. You know, we had guys that were in the practice squad playing in the game. We were able to win that game. So we always used to say, got depth? Well, that's what you need in the NFL. You need depth. Your back players need to be really good too, and you need to be able to fill other spots. So I like what they did, and I think that's what they did. They went with a lot of versatile guys. Holmes is versatile. McKinney is versatile. I don't know how versatile Chris Williamson is.
Julian Love's versatile. Not that we
right.
We have a lot of versatile Peppers.
So
we have a ton of versatile guys. And you bring up the depth point. Eagles fans, I hope you're listening because they don't have a lot of it. And we got
don't matter, Chris. They ain't losing.
And we got time with the $5 donation, man. Thanks so much for love. Hot take just for you, Bad Dog. Jones gonna outplay Murray when they play this year.
I hope he does.
Listen, Bad Dog. Call me a hot take. And Fish Vegas, I know, goes out on the limb a lot. He made a video about that 4 or 5 days ago. I agree with him. I think Dan Jones is going to be a better quarterback than Kyler Murray, and I try to be centered. I am a bigger fan of Daniel Jones than Kyler Murray. I know you're a huge Kyler Murray guy.
Better than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's going to be a superstar in this league.
Yeah, that's just my word. That's just my
words. We talked about this last night. I think Daniel Jones at his peak is scraping the top 5. I did say that. I do think that he could be between the 5th and 8th best quarterback in this league in his peak. I think Kyler Murray could be a top 5 quarterback. I watch a kid play. I mean, the things that Kyler Murray can do are ridiculous. I know he's not big. Okay, he's 5'9". He might be 5'8". You know,
he might be 5 foot.
I mean, he could be. He might be, but the fact that
we got to put him and Kid Blue next to each other.
Yes, we do. We do. That'd be a good comparison. But he's so fast, and the way he opens his hips so quick, and just can a flick of the wrist, throw it 60 yards on. I mean, he's got all the tools, and obviously he does. It didn't matter that he was 5'8". He still went number 1 overall in the draft. That he was 6'2", it wouldn't have even been a question. So, and Cliff Kingsbury's system suits him to a T. And they added to DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't know. I'm a big fan of Kyler. What can I say? It might be my Sooner bias, but I've also, because of that, I've watched him play every game. And I know especially could be, but I definitely think Daniel Jones could be an elite quarterback in this league. I think he has all the tools to do it. I think we saw a lot of that last year on a really piss poor team, with a bad offensive line, a beat up wide receiving core, a terrible coaching staff. It's a reason to believe that there's a reason for Giants fans to be optimistic about Daniel Jones taking an enormous leap like Wentz and like Goff did in their second year. I can see that happening. Daniel Jones, I made that video 2 months ago. He'll be a pro. Hot take, if you want to call it that. He's in the Pro Bowl in 2020. Daniel Jones.
I sure hope you're right. I sure hope you're right. And he definitely could take a big step. That's If you're a fan that thinks the Giants are going to make the playoffs this year, he's going to take a huge leap. L.A. Lou, man, thanks so much for the $5 donation. I appreciate it. He says, the more I watch Orlovsky, the less I take him seriously. He can break down a play on film, but his evaluations are often superficial and wrong. Yeah, I like I said, Lou, I haven't gotten a chance to watch it. But from what I heard about what he had to say, outside of that, I think he was very complimentary of Daniel Jones. I think he said that he thinks he could be a really good quarterback, but I got to watch it. Like I said, a lot of people have pointed me to it. Maybe I'll have a video on it tomorrow when I actually get to watch what he had to say. But, yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to watch it. Prison Mike, man, thanks so much for the love, man. $2 donation. He says, bro, that Ravens draft was insane. Super Bowl bound. Ravens had a great draft.
Agree.
Yeah, Ravens had the best draft of anyone. I agree.
They are Super Bowl bound. I agree with that.
And OGR Sports in the house. What's going on, OGR, man? If you guys have not done so, please go on over to OGR. He was on the channel last Saturday. I'll
be over there tomorrow as well.
There you go. He says the two best Giant YouTubers on YouTube. What do you think will be the biggest surprise for the Giants this year, good or bad? Okay. Good or bad? Okay, so let's do one bad surprise, one good surprise. That's a great question. I will go... all right, I'll start with the bad news. Bad surprise. Well, it wouldn't be a surprise if Evan Ingram gets hurt or Sterling Shepard gets hurt. So I'm not going to say that. That's just probably going to happen. I will say a bad surprise is I don't want to be pessimistic, Bad Dog. Bad surprise. I don't know how well Sterling Shepard will fit in the offense. I don't know if that's considered a bad surprise. We heard about Cole Beasley having problems in the slot with the Dallas Cowboys. So maybe Golden Tate doesn't fit very well in the offense. I could see that being a possibility. Maybe that's a bad surprise. In terms of a good surprise, I mean, there's several that I've talked about that are possible. I'm not saying they're all going to come true, but I think Slayton could have a big year. I think Nate Solder could be a little bit better than some people may think this year. I could see him bouncing back on the right side. Not that he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but I could see him being an adequate right tackle. So that'll be my good surprise, Nate Solder.
Bad surprise. It's hard to have a bad surprise when your team's been bad for so long. You just kind of expect them to be bad. God. I mean, it's hard to say. Because I don't want to be pessimistic about anything. But
like you said, when you've won 12 games in the last 3 years, it's hard to have a bad surprise. We're all kind of going into the year with the thought process of, well, it could only go up from here. It's kind of hard to have a bad surprise when you've been as bad as we've been. Exactly.
Bad surprise. I'm going to say Blake Martinez is just doesn't play well. If anything, there's been a lot of talk about his coverage skills. I know he was better with Patrick Graham, but I don't know how well he'll fit here. Again, I know there's the connection, but there's a lot of talk about his numbers were overrated. He's lazy. There's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to say bad surprise is Blake Martinez doesn't pan out. Good surprise, Javon Leake's going to make an impact for the Giants. Javon Leake will make an impact for this team this year. I feel like that's because Deion Lewis is here for 1 year, and he's kind of at the end of his career. You got Saquon Barkley. Wayne Gallman's falling out of favor. Javon Leake can make an impact for the Giants. That's going to be my good surprise. Javon Leake is going to be a very impactful player for the Giants this year.
I can see that, especially in special teams as well. And True Rapless, man, thank you so much for being a great subscriber. I always see you comment on my videos. It says, thank you for getting me through quarantine. Nice vids. Man, thank you. Hopefully you stick around after quarantine. I know you're one of my best subscribers, and everybody in here, by the way. Thank you to everybody for being here. And, hopefully everybody's staying safe out there. Like I always say in my new videos, it's part of my new intro. We love all you guys, everything you do for both of our channels. You guys always tune into the live streams. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching my videos. I appreciate it. And next up, we got Derek Lawless. I saw somebody say that he had a great question, so I'm excited about the super chat. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. Says, hey, guys, love the new backdrop. Very cool. Is this the new format going forward? Yeah, I'm using StreamYard, so yeah, I'll probably use this because it doesn't lag as much. He says, how is the NFL going to handle noise from the players possibly yelling and swearing in empty stadiums? That's something I have not thought about. I've thought about the complete opposite, that there will not be noise in terms of the crowd effect if there's players there. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. News came out in Texas about how they're going to let some fans go to the stadium. Of course, I would think the NFL has to approve it, and the league will probably have to approve it. But, yeah, that's a great question. You know, I never thought about that, Bad Dog, because now there's no white noise in the background to cancel out the players cursing on the sidelines, and the microphones may actually pick that up. I don't think that. Well, you know what? They probably film on a delay, kind of.
They do 7-second delay on television,
kind of like the radio, so they could
kind of like YouTube.
Yeah, kind of like
OBS. It is.
Yeah.
It's like a 7-second delay, so they will edit it out.
Yeah, so that's what it would be, kind of like on the radio. That's the only thing that I could see making sense. But I'm sure there'll be a couple of words here and there that.
I'm sure. Well, there'll be a couple words coming out of our mouths that will not be edited out. The Giants, I'm sure.
And then that kind of brings me to the Dallas point that I wanted to bring up. As far as it's all over the news now in the state of Texas, not just for football, all sports, they're going to let people come to the stadiums. They're going to, right as of now, what they're saying is it's going to be 25% capacity. So, for instance, the Cowboys Stadium, I think is, I didn't look up the stats, but I think it's the most people in the NFL could go to that stadium. Probably about 90,000 people when everything's factored in. You figure there's going to be about 20 to 25,000 people allowed in that stadium as of now. Now, of course, the NFL may change that, and there's no way of knowing, right? This virus, hopefully not, but it could get worse in a couple months. We don't know if it's going to come back. So that was interesting. News came out about that, and I would think the league would follow suit, because at the end of if they allow Dallas, they got to allow everybody else to try to make money. Not to mention the Giants are going there, so they're just as capable of getting the virus in Dallas as they are in New York. So if they're going to open it up in Dallas, if it's allowed, I would think it would be allowed in the rest of the league. But of course, it's going to be at the team's discretion.
Yeah. Well, what they would do, obviously, is they would separate the seats. I mean, that it would be every other seat or whatever it is. I don't think that's a problem in the stadium. The problem that they're going to have is, how do you prevent people from tailgating? That's the issue, because that's a big part of a football game is the tailgating. You get there early. You get there 4, 5, 6, 8 hours early. You eat and you drink and you're hanging out. You're talking crap with each other. Kind of like we did when we went down there. We got there at 9 a.m, and we hung out for a while, and it was awesome. I mean, that may be the thing that they run into that's the most difficult. But I mean, college football is going to do that as well. As far as I know, college football is going to go, and that's what they plan on doing. It is just like separating the seats. So I don't think it'll be a problem in the stadium, but outside the stadium, who knows? I don't know who's going to regulate that. If they're going to have people saying, you can't have a certain amount of people. Obviously, I think by that point, you may be able to have 10, 15, but obviously you can't have 100. I don't know how it's going to work. It'll be interesting. I don't care. I just want football back.
Exactly. I don't care if it's an empty stadium. I know some people are saying they don't like the visuals, whatever. I don't care. I want to see.
I'm not looking at the crowd, Chris.
We've been dying for sports for the longest time. Just give us some football.
I'm up at 10 to 5 in the morning to do a baseball game like tomorrow morning because I want to watch sports.
Exactly. And OGR Sportsman, thanks so much, Philip, man. I appreciate it, man. And he says, I'm asking this question for New York, MY Giants 26. So he's been asking it. Yeah, we're going to get to the chat, by the way, guys. We're just kind of feeding off the vibe and trying to go back and forth, trying to give you guys a good show. He says, I'm asking this question for MY Giants 26. Do you think that Benjamin Victor can be something special close to Victor Cruz? I mean, I want to tell you yes. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Victor Cruz, how many Victor Cruzes are there, Bad Dog, that go undrafted? If Victor Cruz stays healthy, Bad Dog, he's a Hall of Fame talent. He was trending that way. To have those kind of expectations for the undrafted free agents, that's just unrealistic. You cannot expect these guys to have a Victor Cruz-like impact.
Or an Ahmad Bradshaw. I mean, that was another guy that was – but the thing is, they're two totally different receivers. I mean, Benjamin Victor's a 6'4" guy that's an outside receiver, whereas – Victor Cruz, I mean, he could play outside. He could play slot. But, again, that was just lightning in a bottle. You don't get that. That's very, very rare. That'd be great. Again, there's a lot of talent that we took. Austin Mack, in talking to Giants Alliance last night, we were talking about Austin Mack, and he might have – a lot of people thought he was the best one, but he's a slot guy. We have a ton of slot guys. Benjamin Victor's got a better chance because he's an outside guy. But I love Derek Dillon because he runs a 4.28. You can't teach that. That's something completely different. That's a guy that you could use like they used Tavon Austin. Now, Tavon Austin was a top 10 pick. He's a complete bust. But the Rams and the Cowboys, everybody else tried to kick returner, punt returner, jet sweeps, quick slants, wide receiver bubble screens, all that type of stuff. That's something you could do with a Derek Dillon. In my opinion, if anybody turns into Victor Cruz, it's Derek Dillon. because of that faster, because of the speed. You can't teach speed. So if anybody can do it, in my opinion, it's him. I would love to see both, Benjamin Victor, Rice and John, and Derek. I'd like to see them all make the team and all make an impact.
Well, those are always the guys that everybody is rooting for to make the team, right? Because they're the underdogs, the undrafted free agents. But at the end of the day, we got to be somewhat realistic. You can't go into the year expecting these guys to have a huge impact. Of course, we're hoping that they do. The only way they're even going to get an opportunity is if there's an injury to the wide receiving core. Pretty much. I mean, you still got 3 very capable wide receivers, which PFF actually ranked as the 21st best receiving core. I thought that was about fair if you're being completely honest with yourself. Now, they could exceed that if Darius Slayton takes a step forward, if Sterling Shepard stays healthy, and if Golden Tate doesn't get suspended. They definitely have capable wide receivers. But the only way any one of these undrafted free agents are going to carve out a real role in this receiving core is if there's injuries, which we hope there's not. But history would show you that there probably will be.
Yep. Yeah, especially with Shepard. I mean, another concussion that could be the end of him. So I don't know. I mean, I like these guys. I just want to say to Dire Giants fan, man, thanks for putting my link in the chat. I've seen him do it a few times. So thanks for that, buddy. Always appreciate it. And I see Giants Alliance in the chat. I got to work with him last night. It was an awesome show, man. I had a blast doing that. So that was really cool. Appreciate him coming on the channel last night. Had a good time, streaming. So that was awesome. Love working with the Giants content creators that I haven't had a chance to work with. So that was a good time. And I definitely look forward to working with more Giants content creators that I've not worked with. So it should be good. Looking forward to being on OGR's channel tomorrow for the first episode of the courtroom. I'm going to be interrogated. So it should be interesting.
I'm looking forward to watching that. But thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to just try to shout out as many people as I can. We try to do like a real show. So Jarvis Juice, one of my best men. Thank you for being here. Cushmaster in the house. Great Wood in the house. New York Mets, New York Giants in the house. Panthers in the house. Giants Alliance. There he is. Giants Alliance. Thank you for being here. Nick the Wick. Jawad in the house. Adam in the house. Thank you for being here. And LA Lou with the $5 donation. I appreciate it, my man. He says, don't mean to get too technical, but to cut out specific crowd noise, you may see more unidirectional mics and less that's too technical for me, LA Lou. That went right over my head. Which are the dish mics? That maybe that's how they go about doing it. I don't get into that, Lou. I just watch the pigskin go, thrown in the air, and I try to listen to funny noises when people may say some funny things. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to go about doing it, Lou. But the only thing that makes sense to me, like Baddog and myself were saying, were the 7 second, kind of like on radio. That's what I think will happen. But thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. And Charlie with the $5 donation, he says, if you separate seating in the stadium, how do they decide who doesn't get to use their tickets? Well, I would think that they're just going to sell 1/4 of the amount of seats.
Right.
But I would guess that they're not going to have season tickets this year. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. Or they're only going to have 20,000 tickets worth of season tickets. So they'll probably give people the option to probably retain their tickets for the next year. And the people that want to come to the game, which I'm sure a lot of them will not probably, will have the option to do so. So that's the only thing that could make any sense to me.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I can tell you that much. It's going to be interesting this year for sure.
What's going on, Kristaps Porzingis? Thank you guys for being here. And thank you to everybody for being here. Yeah, we've talked a bit. Like we said, there's not a ton to talk about. We touched on the Texas situation. We touched on Daniel Jones. We touched on Darnay Holmes. You guys give us some questions, and we'll try to feed off of it. Thank you to everybody for being here. If you haven't done so, like Baddog was saying, Diehard Giants fan is posting Baddog's link in the chat. You go over there and subscribe. We'll be on his channel next week. Thank you to everybody for being here. What's up, Lake Nona? Thank you. And let's see what we got here. What's going on, Chill Daddy? Thanks for popping in. What's going on, Lake Nona? Entertainer, drinking soda pop. Bob Money, always my man. Logan says, what about Justin Fields? I would prefer it. I still think Danny Dimes is my guy. Logan says. Well, I'll let you start with that, Baddog.
Well, I'm sorry. I tapping a turn when Theismann was getting his leg broken, and I just happened to come on there, and I just saw that. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Logan says, what about Justin Fields? I would prefer it. I still think Danny Dimes is my guy. That's what he had to say.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
I don't want Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, I did the video on that, but Daniel Jones is my guy. I'm riding with Daniel Jones. I don't know how good Fields is going to be. I don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I didn't like Cardale Jones. I didn't like Terrell Pryor. I don't like Dwayne Haskins. I ain't going to like Fields either. It's like I don't like Alabama quarterbacks. I don't like USC quarterbacks. And most of the time, I don't like Oklahoma quarterbacks. But I do
I'm completely with you. I think fans need to get – what's going on, Amaya? Thanks for popping in the stream. I think people need to get the second quarterback thing out of their head. We have our quarterback. The guy had a good rookie year. Let's not think about that. Let's hope that he progresses and gets better.
After this year, we won't be talking about this at all.
Yeah. Come on.
We're not going to be talking about this at all. We're going to be talking about, damn, when's Daniel Jones winning the Super Bowl?
And Cal says, any news on Baker? Yeah, there's a little bit of news. Nothing. The reason I haven't made any videos because it wasn't anything that we didn't know. But it came out that they're going to allow DeAndre Baker officially to go to Giants practices in New Jersey. Joe Judge is going to allow it. And supposedly he's still being told not to attend the virtual meetings because they want him to.
I mean, he likes that because he doesn't attend them.
But they want him to focus on his legal case.
Joe Judge gets to clock him in the jaw.
Yeah, exactly. And we got time, man. Thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, who's more likely for this to be their last year starting due to production? Minshew, Trubisky, or Mayfield?
Minshew's gone. Trubisky.
I was gonna say Trubisky because I think Foles is gonna start.
Definitely. You don't trade for Foles for a backup. He started.
Yeah. I think Foles is gonna end up getting that job. Not to mention he probably fits that scheme better. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with out of those three. But I agree with you that Minshew may very well be replaced as well.
Baker Mayfield's gonna have a good year too.
There's no excuse for Mayfield this year if he doesn't. But Minshew. Now, you want to talk about a situation where Giants fans are talking about Daniel Jones. There's a situation. Minshew was a late-round pick. I think he was a third-rounder, fourth-rounder, whatever it was, so he doesn't have any salary cap implications. If the Jaguars do as bad as a lot of people think, there's a team that will draft Trevor Lawrence. That makes a lot more sense. They're not paying Minshew $7 million a year 3.
Right. I don't think the Jags will be last either, but
they're going to be close.
I have a feeling the Patriots end up with Trevor Lawrence.
You think the Patriots are going to do that bad?
No, I just feel like they end up with Trevor Lawrence somehow.
We'll see. El Pepe, man, thank you so much for love, man. I appreciate it. He says, do you think the Giants will trade Saquon for picks to rebuild? What pick is Saquon? I get this question all the time. Baddog, here's what I'm going to say. I recognize why people bring up the possibility of trading Saquon because he's a running back. And because they may feel that the Giants aren't ready to compete and the running back is a position with a short lifespan. So I recognize why people ask me the question. But you know what? It's the same thing for Daniel Jones. If Dave Gettleman is gone and they bring in a guy from the outside, I suppose it's possible. But here's the thing. With Saquon Barkley, you're never going to get close to the value that you seek. He's a running back. Teams don't generally want to pay a running back $20 million a year, which is what he's going to command. So teams are going to factor that in. That is why I think, and I don't even think stuck's the right word. I'm happy he's here, but I don't think we're going to be able to trade Saquon Barkley for the simple reason, in my opinion, you're never going to get near the value that you would think he was worth. And he's a great guy to have on the football team. He's a great locker room guy. I think the Giants view him as a leader. I think they view him as a future of this football of the New York Giants. I don't think they're ever going to trade him.
No, they're not going to have to trade him because, again, when this guy's he is in his prime now. Running back's prime is usually between 23 and 27. But the Giants are going to be a very competitive team in the coming years. You're not going to trade him. If anything, what the Giants should do, and we've talked about this, is sign him now to the extension so you're not paying him as much and that his contract ends when he's 29 and not 31, and you're not paying him more because the cap's increased. So I think, if anything, they should extend him at this point. You're not going to find a running back. I don't know why people think a running back's not important. I don't understand this. Everything, in my opinion, everything in the offense is predicated off the run. It's rare that you find a team that doesn't have a good running game that is competitive. I mean, I hate the Cowboys, but let's face it. That 90s dynasty, it wasn't Troy Aikman, because Troy Aikman never threw more than 22 touchdowns in any season in his entire career. Okay, he threw 165 touchdowns, 141 interceptions. In my opinion, those are horrible numbers. The only reason he's in the Hall of Fame is because they won 3 Super Bowls, but not because of Troy Aikman. It was because of Emmitt Smith, and I hate him, and I think he's overrated. But they were able to run the ball that period of time in Emmitt's prime. The guy was one of the best running backs in the league, outside of Barry Sanders. So they were able to run the ball. They win now because of Ezekiel Elliott. The Seattle Seahawks won with defense and Marshawn Lynch. I mean, Russell Wilson certainly helps. Marshawn Lynch was a great running. The team that can do it without it is the Patriots because they use so many different types of running backs.
Right.
So I don't know. To me, running game is extremely important. It's good to have a home run threat where you run the ball. Because if you run fast, I don't care who your quarterback is. If you can't run the ball, that poor guy's going to get killed. So I love Saquon Barkley. I don't even want to think about trading him at all.
He's our weapon. He's our team right now. He's by far our best player, and he's not. And I know people say, well, they traded Beckham. You could trade Barkley. I'm going to do LA Lou's first because he said he's leaving. Then I'm going to get to the other one. LA Lou, man, thank you so much for love, man. I appreciate it. $5 donation says, all right, guys, I'm out. Tonight is my Friday at work. Baddog, I'll see you at the KBO later. Hasta luego. That's later. To all you gringos.
Yeah.
LA Lou, man, have a great one, man. Thank you for all
the man. I love LA Lou. LA Lou.
All the support, man. Thank you so much for being here. And Dustin with the $5 donation, he says, you guys are the best Giants YouTubers and made last season way more watchable. Well, first off, before I get to the rest of it,
appreciate that.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for being a great supporter of both of ours. My question, can Daniel Jones lead this offense to success this season? Listen,
absolutely.
Never say never. That's what I'm going to say. And if it was a season where I thought we had a more favorable schedule, I might have the Giants winning 8 or 9 games by my predictions.
Same here.
But do I think that he could? Yeah. I mean, Baddog, let's be fans for a second. Let's not try to be super unbiased. Let's be fans for a second, because sometimes I go in fan mode. And like you said earlier, when you look at some of the quarterbacks in the past year or two, nobody thought the Eagles were going to take off when they won the Super Bowl.
Right.
But they did, because Carson Wentz had a monumental leap. The guy was the MVP for the first 13 games of the season.
Yes, he was.
Before he went down. So never say never. Now, is Daniel Jones capable of doing it? I mean, why not? I mean,
don't forget about the Rams.
Yeah.
They were nothing Jared Goff's rookie season. And in their second year, they made the Super Bowl.
Right.
It's the same thing. Or no, they didn't make the Super Bowl. Was that the third year? Because Goff and Wentz went the same year.
No, they went 11-5, though. They were 4-12 his rookie year. Then
So
they went 11-5.
the next year, this is third year they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had a 7-game leap, though, from
Right.
his rookie year to his sophomore year. Now, and they were in a very similar situation in the New York Giants are now. We don't have the defensive players that they have. We don't have Aaron Donald. Okay?
Right.
Well, let's be real here. But they didn't have any great receivers at that point. They later acquired more. They had Gurley, who's kind of like Saquon Barkley. They had the second-year quarterback, and they had McVay, the new coach that came in, changed the culture, changed the offense, and they took a huge leap. So there's always surprise teams. That's what I'll always say. You always want to have some kind of hope going into a season, but at the same time, we want to be realistic. We don't want to set our expectations way too high, because if you do that, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to call for the coach's job. You're going to call for Gettleman to be fired. We have to realize this is a rebuild, and more than likely, a rebuild takes more than 1 year. And that's all we try to express.
And this was the second year of a rebuild, as I mentioned in the video. 2018, ownership told Dave Gettleman, you have to try to win and rebuild at the same time. Well, the only team that can do that I know is the Patriots. And you're really not rebuilding when you got Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It doesn't really matter the pieces around him. When you got those guys that are locked up, you're going to be good. But this is year 2. You rebuild with a quarterback. You don't rebuild with a running back. I don't care how good the running back is. You're not rebuilding with a running back. So, in my opinion, this is the second year of the rebuild. I think Dave Gettleman needs some leniency. Again, if he's 2-14 and we regress and Daniel Jones is bad, I still don't want Gettleman fired, but I understand the case for it. If we're 6-10 or 7-9 and they compete with the Niners and lose maybe on a last-second field goal, like 27-24, they compete with the Ravens, have that type of thing where they lose a really close game or a really tough game, and these are your most elite teams in the league, then you sit there and go, okay, if you beat the Cowboys and Eagles a game this year finally, then you're sitting there going, all right, we're going in the right direction.
Right.
That's why I'm saying 9. I predicted us to go 6-10, but the only reason I predicted us to go that is because I said until the Giants show me that they can beat the Eagles and Cowboys, I can't pick them in good faith to win those games. But let's face it, the last 2 seasons, we had the Cowboys beat twice, letting it off the hook, and the Eagles beat twice and letting it off the hook. Close it out this year, we could go 9-7. Because again, the Cardinals, I have them beating us, but I don't think the Cardinals are head and shoulders better than we are. I don't think the Eagles and Cowboys are head and shoulders better than we are. So we could definitely, being completely optimistic, 9-7, 4-2 in this division is very possible. How probable it is, I don't know, but it's definitely very possible.
It's possible. It's football at the end of the day. It's always possible. Now, I saw somebody. I'm trying to answer one non-super chat here and there. I'm going to answer Nate's question, then we're going to get to the 2 donations. Thank you to everybody for being here. Nate says, Chris, I know there are a lot of good defenses in the league, but do you think any of them can even come close to stopping the Chiefs' offense? Okay, well, I'm going to say probably not, to be honest with you, when you say completely stop, but I say it all the time. The best way to stop the Chiefs is to keep them off the field.
Yep.
To have a ground game, to have a strong offensive line, that's your best defense. It's what the New York Giants did in the 2008 Super Bowl. So that's how you beat the Chiefs. You keep Mahomes off the field. You win the time of
possession. The Bills in the Super Bowl 25. Had the ball for 40 minutes.
Yeah, you win in the trenches.
Well, Keith Olbermann used to say, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. That's
And Saheed, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, did you know LT bought hookers for opposing running backs to wear their legs out? He could have used that help last season. So he said, I did know that. And I didn't know it was for running backs, but I knew that he bought hookers for the opposing teams. And it worked. Obviously.
Savagery by LT.
It was a smart man. There's no doubt about it. So and Eric with
the hookers too. So, you know, it is what it is.
And Eric
go the extra mile like Jordan. No matter. You know, you do what you can do.
Eric, and what's going on, Jesse Bryan, man? Thanks for being here, buddy. Eric Knott says Eli's second year, 3,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 51% completion. You think DJ does better? Well, the first thing I'm going to say to that, way better is right, but the first thing I'm going to say to that, different era. You know, the 51 completion percentage wasn't good back then, but it was like a completion percentage nowadays that was 55% is probably more like 62%. It's a completely different game, so you can't really judge stats, you know, year to year. But what I'll say is Eli had some progression in year two. He was horrible in year one. I expect Daniel Jones to have some progression in year two. And I'm going to do a video on this. I don't know if I'll have it up tomorrow, but the biggest problem that everybody always talks about with Daniel Jones, I want to do some more research on it, is the fumbling woes. I'm going to look at a lot of quarterbacks, big-time quarterbacks who had fumbling woes. I've already seen a bunch. Tony Romo had huge fumbling woes early on.
Carson Wentz has fumbled 47 times in his career.
Tom Brady.
He's been in the league 12 years. Lamar Jackson fumbled a ton his rookie season too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something that can be fixed, guys. Well, hasn't fixed Carson Wentz, and it don't matter.
And Rincon with the $2 donation, he says, Giants 10-6 and taking the East. # let's go Giants. I love your optimism, Rincon. Love your optimism, and you never know. It's football. So
the one thing I'll go back to the Eli thing real quick. The other thing you got to realize is that in Kevin Gilbride's system, that was all or nothing. He had Eli Manning 7-step drops, heaving the ball down the field. There was no safe passes back then for Eli Manning. It was a lot of deep passes down the field. There was no quick slants. Right. You know, back then they could run a screen pass because they had Tiki Barber. It's fun. It's fun to go back and watch the good Giants teams and watch Tiki execute a screen and go, wow, that's what a successful screen looks like, because we haven't seen it in years. But they didn't do that a lot. You know, they threw the ball deep, which is, of course, going to hurt a quarterback's accuracy. So that's why when Ben McAdoo became our offensive coordinator, you saw Eli Manning have two of his best statistical seasons of all time because he had shorter, quicker throws to guys like Odell Beckham. That certainly helped that you had Odell Beckham take a 7-yard slant, 80 yards at a house. But that was why his completion percentage increased so much, because, you know, the passes were more high percentage.
Right.
Gilbride was not that guy. So Eli Manning's, you know, his stats struggled because of that reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's the modern day NFL at the end of the day, but it didn't fit Eli Manning. Like you said, Eli Manning was a guy, I think, kind of similar to Daniel Jones. A lot of people think Daniel Jones is a guy that should take more shots down the field. Eli Manning was not a completion guy. He was a guy that took shots and made big plays, and it's kind of why he did so well under Gilbride, at least for a while before we wanted to, when I called him Kevin Killdrive when we wanted to get rid of him. But for a while, it was successful. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if I get a
I've seen this a bunch of times, so I just want to say, Jesse Bryan, how can I be the man when you the man? I've seen him put that in a bunch of times. So.
Hey, what's going on, Riley? Thank you for being here. And Christopher says, I've seen him ask this a bunch. Any rookie free agents you excited for? I mean, Leak, Baddog, and myself are pretty excited for him, the running back, and some of those wide receivers. We'll have to see. Dixon's got the speed. We'll see. You know, got to see more of them before I could say I'm excited. I got to see what they have to say about him at training camp, things like that. But I think a lot of those guys have ability, you know, and we'll see if they could crack the roster.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's Dylan and Leak. I think they're the two guys I'm most excited about. But obviously, Rice and John may come in as a tight end. You know, he ran a 4.6 at 6'7". So that's you know, again, that's just a ridiculous physical specimen. And then of course Benjamin Victor is, you know, he's 6'4", and you know, had a really good year at Ohio State. And I had mentioned this before in my live streams as well. Derek Dillon, and Goose brought this up, being a big LSU fan. He said Dillon's a great pick because with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, Derek Dillon didn't get to see the field a lot. So his numbers struggled for that reason.
Yeah.
You know? So numbers don't always look at it. I mean, you like Peoples-Jones a lot. His numbers struggled because Shea Patterson was trash.
Right.
So, I mean, sometimes receivers' numbers can be misleading, which is why I always say statistics are for fantasy football and losing teams. Because winning teams, we don't care about statistics. It don't matter. Eli Manning had a terrible statistical season in 2007. Does anybody give a damn? We won the Super Bowl.
Don't care. And especially when it's college to pros, you can't really look at the statistics like you said.
Yeah.
And Mark, man, thanks so much, Philip, man. I appreciate it. He says, just arrived. I said just arrived. Heard y'all talking about screens. Really think we will be running lots of screens in the Jason Garrett system. They seem very scarce with Shermer. That was one thing that we complained about, especially with Jones. Him and Barkley didn't really seem to have much chemistry in the passing game last year. That was widely talked about by a lot of people. And maybe we will see more screens. I got to do more research on that. I'm going to have a video talking about Jason Garrett's offense soon, too. I'll probably do a film breakdown for that. But I think we're going to see a lot of vertical passes, more so than anything. And I think you're going to see the Giants run the ball more and more consistently than they did with Pat Shermer.
Yeah, I agree. And another reason there might have been no, consistency with the passing game is because Barkley didn't play the first 3 games. He played a half, and he sprained his ankle. Then he was out for the next 3 games. So Daniel Jones didn't really get to have that rapport with him. And then when he came back, he wasn't completely healthy either. Now, we did see him make a couple big plays in the passing game against Washington when he was completely healthy. So I think you'll see him be a bigger part of the passing game. But at the end of the day, you want your running back to run the ball. That's why he's a running back. Yes, screens are nice. Yes, you want to get him the ball in space. I understand that, especially if your offensive line isn't opening up any holes from the run through. But at the end of the day, you want Barkley to run more than catch.
Right.
Dion Lewis is brought in here to catch the ball. I think Javon Leak will be brought in here to catch the ball. Saquon Barkley's got to run the ball. So
right.
I expect him to run it still.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I think they're going to run the ball a lot this year. The one says more screens will be a good thing. That's my Giants bread and butter. I think that hopefully anyway. Muhammad says Darnay Holmes has potential to be the next I'm not going to go that far. And so does Baker, but Darnay has a better chance because of the work ethic. Listen, I love Darnay Holmes. Deion Sanders is probably the greatest cornerback who ever lived, at least in modern day football.
Couldn't tackle, but could
cover. Yeah, I hope he's a good player. And
how I said Landon Collins couldn't cover a twin-size bed with a king-size sheet? Deion Sanders could cover a king-size bed with a twin-size sheet. That's how good Deion was.
Oh, he's incredible. Chizola with the $2 donation. He says, I hope Darnay Holmes goes off. I am excited for him. Chizola, man, how you been, buddy? Glad to see you in the stream.
Yeah, good to see him.
Yeah, great supporter of both of ours. And, yeah, Darnay Holmes is one of the guys that I'm most excited about in this rookie class. Now, of course, I wanted the offensive lineman. I am really excited about Darnay Holmes because of all the factors. The guy is incredibly hardworking from everything you read. He graduated from UCLA in 2.5 years. I mean, the guy's very smart. Yep. He seems like a team guy. He seems like Barkley in that sense. A team first guy, a high character guy, a guy that's willing to buy in, a good athlete. I'm very excited about Holmes. I think he'd be a very good pro. And I think, like we said earlier, I think the Giants found the gem late in the draft.
Hey, there's no substitute for hard work, man. I say this all the time, and I bring up the baseball analogy. It takes no talent to run as hard as you can.
Right.
That takes no talent. That takes effort. Working hard, as I said, it doesn't take talent to work hard. It takes effort.
Right. So
if you're a full effort guy, those are the guys your teammates want to get behind. Those are guys that inspire your teammate. Hey, this guy's working hard, man. I got to work hard. That's what happens. It rubs off on guys when you see these really hardworking players. Like Jordan, I always use as an example. I mean, Jordan, nobody worked harder than Jordan. He was the greatest player ever. And he worked harder than anybody. Jerry Rice is the same thing. Nobody worked harder than Jerry Rice.
Right.
Now those guys, both of them succsuccessul, right?
Tom Brady's another one. Tom
Brady, perfect example. So excited about that. I like those are the guys you want to get behind. Those are the guys you root for, the guys that you can see as New Yorkers, because we are blue collar, hardworking grinders. We always appreciate the blue collar smash mouth. It's why we loved the 90s Knicks. They were not talented outside of Ewing. There was no real talented guy outside. But, man, they worked harder than – they were way better than they should have been.
Well, the Giants historically have been the same way.
Exactly.
We say it all the time.
Bunch,
Yeah. Well, we'll even look at the last 2 Super Bowls. We say it all the time. There's only 2 Hall of Famers on either one of those 2 teams, and that's Michael Strahan and Eli Manning. Outside of that, they had very good players, some players that were great. at certain aspects, but they weren't unbelievable talents. We weren't, we like you said, we had that lunch pail mentality, and that's what we got to get back to. Rincon, man, thanks so much for love, man. I really appreciate it. He says, will Judge bring anyone to compete with Rosas? I thought he struggled terribly last year. I'm going to say no, because Rosas, I think, is like the highest paid kicker in football right now after the contract that he got. Now, that's, that happens every year with positions. So it's not like they're awarding him. But, with Rosas, I think this is a make or break year for him. Last year, we point to it all the time, and maybe it's making excuses, but a lot of people said that Diassi wasn't very good as the long snapper, and Rosas definitely played better the last 3 games or so when they replaced him. So hopefully that's the case. But no, I think Rosas is your kicker this year. And that, to me, and I probably should have pointed it out when I talked about the 5 guys that need to dramatically improve this year. I did a video on that yesterday. Rosas should have been an honorable mention, because if you go back and look at the games, I bet you there's 1 or 2 wins that would have been there had Rosas made his kicks. So
the Jets.
The Jets. There's one.
We missed 2 extra points and a field goal in that game. We were there.
Yeah, we were there. Yeah.
My brother-in-law, Don, ripped him a new one.
Yeah.
I just kept saying, Rosas! And then, Rosas, you suck! I never...
So, yeah, I mean, we win a couple more games with that alone. I mean, we say this every year. We said it last year, the year before. There were so many games we could have won.
The Cardinals game was another one, Chris.
The Cardinals game's another one.
Another one.
Yeah. And it's the little things. It's the little things, and we hope that's what Joe Judge brings to the team. He was a great special teams coach, attention to detail guy, so we'll see. And Mark, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, creating open space isn't the only plus about screens. It creates unpredictability and keeps edge guys on their heels if they're blitzing out there. Of course, that's the whole benefit to a screen is the unpredictability. It's what Judge wants to bring. And, yeah, if you catch him on the blitz, a team that's a heavy blitz defense, probably something that the Giants are going to have to look out for, because I think they're going to blitz more than most teams. You could create big plays, especially with a guy like Dion Lewis or Saquon Barkley. Lewis is known to be a good receiving back, and obviously we know that Barkley is. So, yeah, I would like to see them implement more screen passes, even if it's with wide receivers in the passing game. Absolutely, Mark.
Yeah, it definitely curtails a pass rush. You use, and I said that last year. I know we talked about that during the Giants games last year. Where are the delayed draws? Where's the misdirections? Where's the counters? So that you get the defense going one direction and then you have wide open holes. And stop running the 3-yard plunge up the middle.
Right.
Stop doing that. Someone, I forgot who put it on there. I just remember seeing like a Tecmo, an old Tecmo Bowl thing, and it showed Platt Shermer's playbook, and it was all plunge up the middle. 39, plunge up the middle. 4th and 15, let's run the ball. Remember that call, Chris? 4th and 15, let's run it.
Oh, yeah.
4th,
4th and 2, they punted. Yeah. He didn't make much sense last year.
No.
Says, Olo, man, thanks so much for love. He says, I hate the Pats, but Tom Brady how could he not? The guy's even, I'm a guy that, I think the less traveled avenue when it comes to Tom Brady. I personally don't think he's the greatest quarterback ever. I think he's in the top 3 or 4. Most people, obviously, because of the rings, will automatically say he's the greatest ever, and I completely get that side of the argument. But even the people that say that, you cannot knock Tom Brady for his work ethic. This is a guy who was nearly undrafted, came into the league. All you hear about the guy is how hard he works. The guy's in special teams meetings. What is a quarterback doing in special teams meetings? The guy brings he's great work ethic, and it feeds off the rest of the team. Not to mention another thing that Brady doesn't get credited with enough. The guy took pay cuts in order to compete year in and year out. You don't see that with
his wife made all money anyway.
That's true.
I mean, hey, man, if my wife's making $100 million a year, whatever the hell that woman brings in, I take pay cut too.
And John Letourneau, man, what's going on, my man? He says, stand up. Give me a Stella, Baddog.
Stella!
He says, y'all are the best, but please, let's talk about the Eagles. The Giants always stink. F Eagles F. Don't want no trouble, Baddog. We don't talk Eagles here. We love you, John, but
I'll talk about the Eagles right now. They stink. I love you, Johnny. You know that.
And Brandon with the $5 donation, man. Thank you so much. He says, love seeing a short guy play like Darnay Holmes. Gets me hyped. Represent short people. I'm assuming Brandon.
Kid Blue loved him too. Right?
Yeah, that's Kid Blue's favorite player. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Darnay Holmes. I think he's probably one of the guys I'm most excited about this year in the draft class. No doubt about it. Obviously, I'm excited for all these rookies. I'm excited for Andrew Thomas. I'm excited for everybody they drafted, McKinney. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for Holmes. I think he's going to start, or at least he's going to get a lot of playing time.
I think I'll start too, especially if Baker is suspended. I think that Darnay Holmes is going to start.
Yeah. And Mark, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. $2 night says our O-line lacked talent for the tricky run designs. Our O-line lacked talent, period, last year. And it didn't help that we had a rookie quarterback. But our O-line, and that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I read that Jalapeno might be back with the New York Giants. Nothing's concrete right now, but he might.
We need somebody to bring water to the starters. He should be there. But, yeah, I mean, you could say that about – I don't know how tricky a counter is. And another thing Chris and I talked about is, where the hell is the I formation? Where the hell is Elijah Penny? Where the hell is the fullback? We would see an offset. Giants would come out in an offset I, like, hey, look at that. It's an offset I formation. We never ran it.
Right.
And when you can't block up front, get as much protection there as you can. Get a lead blocker. Lord knows that Emmitt Smith was very good because their offensive line was incredible. But he had one of the best blocking fullbacks in football history in the Moose.
Yeah.
You know, and even like Joe Morris had Maurice Carthon. The year that Barry Sanders got a lead blocker, he rushed for 2,000 yards. The fullback's not a sexy position by any means, but it's definitely useful to have a lead blocker back there for a running back, the talent of Saquon Barkley. I bet you do see more I formations and offset I's.
I think we will too. I think Judge is kind of an old school guy. I agree with you. I think they will have more of the lead blocker. Gizola with the $2 donation. He says Pat Shurmur has OCD when it comes to making plays. Yeah, God, let's not reminisce about Pat Shurmur anymore.
I don't know what it's OCD. I don't know what it is. He might have OPD. Maybe he has OPP. I don't know what he's got, but he sucked.
Yeah. What's going on, GMed409? Thanks for popping in the stream. Madison, Hedgecock, Henry, Hynoski. Yeah, you're naming some good fullbacks there. Won't back doodle.
The Rhinoceros, of course.
The Rhinoceros. Nick the Wick says, which game are you guys going? First up, we got to know that we're going to be able to go to games. So before we can answer that, we got to know we're going to be able to go to games, Nick. But the Cleveland game's a game we've talked about. It's going to be late in the year. So if we do go to that, you better bundle up. It's week 15. So Bradley, what's going on, man? How you doing, my man? What can the Giants do today to make this team better? There's not much. I mean, in terms of free agency, because that would make the most immediate impact. We don't have. I mean, Marcus Golden, if we bring him back, if you know, with the tender, and even he, I don't think is going to make a huge impact. I know people look at the sack numbers, but you know, a lot of those recovered sacks, and he's kind of system dependent. I definitely would like him back. He definitely could be a valuable piece on third and second and long as a situational pass rusher. But we don't have a lot of money to make this team better. At the end of the day, what's going to make this team immediately better, Baddog, is the players we already have on the roster. The guys that we execute. The guys that we always talk about that they've drafted well the last three drafts. We're not going to Reese, but the guys that they've drafted the last 3 drafts, taking that step forward, and the improved coaching that we hope. You know, we hope Mark Colombo's a huge improvement. We hope Burton Burns is a huge improvement. We hope these guys they've brought in make an impact with the football players on this team. So if we're going to improve this year, I think the biggest reason will be the coaching staff.
Yep, agree.
And John Letourneau, man, thank you so much for the love. He says, hey, guys, I am feeling that Wentz and Daniel Jones fight for season MVP. Barkley Sanders battle for rushing leader. Show the ladies the chest there. Well, no, Barkley's winning the rushing title. There won't be a battle there, John. As far as the MVP, we hope that Daniel Jones is up for that because that means that the New York Giants are going to the playoffs. So I hope you're right, John, but I'm not putting those expectations on him year 2 in a new system. But I hope you're right.
Yeah, so do I. Because again, like you just said, if anybody's competing for an MVP, it's because the team is good. So I can tell you this, and I'm saying this right now. Daniel Jones will have a better season than Dak Prescott. I've already told you Daniel Jones is going to be better than Dak Prescott. This will be the year. You watch. Watching Dak Prescott leaves Dallas or gets this. Either way, he either leaves Dallas and he stinks, or he's going to get $40 million and he's going to stink because you can't put money anywhere else. Watch it happen. And then watch Daniel Jones be better than Dak Prescott. Just like that. He's already better than Darnold. We know that. He already has more four touchdown games than Darnold. Darnold's never had a 5-touchdown game. Jones did that too. Only rookie in history, 355 touchdowns, no turnovers. And obviously I said he'd be better than Mitch Trubisky. He is. Trubisky's now a backup to Nick Foles. And I also said he'd be better than Dwayne Haskins. And guess what? He is. So I must have known something when I watched the film on Daniel Jones.
Let's hope it works out. I agree with you. I think he's going to have a big year. Mike with the $5 donation says, Tiki Barber used to run a beautiful counter. Always great to see you guys in action. Thanks. Keep up the greatness. Mike, he was fantastic. Now, the reason he was able to run a lot of those counters was because we could block. But Tiki Barber was great at changing direction behind the line of scrimmage. It was probably the thing that I like most about him when I watched him as a running back. His patience behind the line of scrimmage, waiting for holes to open up, and then that big burst after he got through the first level. I love Tiki Barber before he did what he did. One of my favorite New York Giants ever. Baddog and myself were talking about, we're going to do this video. We've seen a couple of Giants YouTubers do it in the community, and I don't know if I'll have it up tomorrow. I'll have it up in the next couple of days, but I'm going to do a video talking about my 10 favorite Giants, not the 10 best, my 10 favorite Giants of all time. And
it'll be a little different for me because I'm older.
Yes.
You guys all know number one. I mean, it's obvious, but
yeah.
There's going to be some surprises in there. I think you guys will get from me that you probably, you probably heard of them, but you're probably like, really?
Yeah. Everybody's got their favorites. And we got time with the $5 donation. He says, completely off subject, but glad we picked up Ingram's 5th year. That's not off subject. It's Giants related. Hope to make a game to talk to his sister pretty hot. Oh, well, that was the thing that was off subject. I've never seen his sister, but if she is hot, I hope you get a chance to talk to her. And as far as Ingram goes, I mean, I'm glad that we picked up the 5th-year option for 2 reasons. One, it made financial sense. It was $6 million. That's not much. When you look at next year's market, and we'll have to wait and see how that plays out with the pandemic and everything else, how it's going to affect the financials for all the teams. But regardless, $6 million for a playmaking tight end is not a lot. You'll get Golden Tate. He's making, I think, 9 or 10. So I thought it was worth it. Not to mention, it actually increases his trade value. Because now a team knows they have him under control for 1 more year. So if you plan to trade him, it makes him more tradable. Not saying that they're going to, but if they do, I would think he would get a higher price tag. So I was completely for it.
That made a lot of sense because, again, this is a make or break year for him. He's got to stay healthy. The talent's there. With Jason Garrett, we saw what he did with Witten. Witten wasn't close to the physical specimen and athlete that Evan Ingram is. Yeah. If Jason Witten could have the career he had, there's no reason to think Evan Ingram cannot be one of the best offensive tight ends. Now, his blocking is still has a lot left to be desired, which is why he brought in Toilolo, why he brought in Tomlinson, why he brought in some of these other tight ends, because that's not his forte. But offensively, he should be a huge weapon on this team. There's no doubt about that. That play-action pass should open up things for Evan Ingram because the linebackers at that point hesitate and they might bite on the run, especially if you're able to run the ball, which is why I say everything's predicated off the run. You run the ball and play action, that freezes everybody. And before you know it, Evan Ingram's past you, and then there's a big play. So it freezes safeties. It freezes, everybody freezes the corners because they don't know what to do. Their first instinct is to go after the ball. If you can't run the ball, they don't care. They're like, well, we ain't got to get in there because the front 3 are going to get in there.
We've seen that as far as the run goes. We've seen that for the last 5, 6, 7 years with the New York Giants not being able to set up the run. As far as Ingram goes, when healthy, he's the best weapon on this offense in terms of the passing game. Saquon Barkley is the best weapon, but in terms of the passing game, Evan Ingram's the guy that creates the biggest mismatch. Yep. Evan Ingram is vital to the success of this team this year if he stays healthy. And I see Jay Zach in here. He says, tank for Lawrence. Just kidding. Yeah. No, he's a big Lawrence guy, man. Thanks for popping in here, Jay Zach.
Hey, you like this video I did today.
Mark with the $2 donation says, Dak is stupid for declining $35 million. Now, I read that was a rumor. I'm not 100% sure, Mark, with that. But regardless, if he did turn that down, he's pretty silly because he has no leverage right now with Andy Dalton on the roster. At this point, my opinion with that, because he's incredibly greedy.
Turn it down now. He's stupid anyway.
Yeah.
Prescott, he's dumb.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But once again, thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. If you guys haven't done so, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. More importantly, I've seen Dire Giants fan post that link. If you could, one more time, Dire Giants fan, please subscribe to Baddog Sports. We're going to be on over there next week, either Thursday or Friday. So thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I've seen Jesse ask this a bunch of times. Thoughts on the linebacker TJ Brunson? He's going to be a special teams player. I don't think he's going to have an impact this year.
I mean, we got a lot of linebackers. We're linebacker heavy in free agency and in the draft.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for him to crack the squad, I think.
And what's going on in Jersey? Jake, thanks for being here. It's going to be hard to watch games without fans. Yeah, well, I just want to watch games. Just all. Tiki had over 10,000 rushing yards, but he had over 15,000.
He's a Hall of Famer.
No.
I've said it before. I'll say it again, just in case you never heard me say it. And I'm serious. He was better than Emmitt Smith. Yes, he was. He averaged 0.6 yards a carry more than Emmitt Smith. The guy had 10,000 yards, retired at 30. And the last 2 seasons, he ran for over 3,500 yards combined. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Tiki was damn good. And he would have had a lot more touchdowns had they not had guys like Ron Dane and Brandon Jacobs there to steal the touchdowns from him.
Yeah, they had vultures.
Even Rodney Hampton, in the beginning of his career. So Tiki could have had 100 touchdowns had he not had the big bruiser back, but Tiki wasn't a starter for the first 3 years of his career either. So pretty much he accomplished all of his statistical, achievements from 2000 to 2006.
Yeah, well, his best year from 04 to 06, if you look at the numbers, he had, I think, no less than 2,200 scrimmage yards in all 3 of those years consecutively. He probably had 7,500 scrimmage yards in those 3 years or close to it. 7,000 to 7,500 in just a 3-year time. Half of his scrimmage yards, or very close to it, came in that 3-year stretch. And a lot of that had to do with Tom Coughlin because he stopped the fumbling problem. So.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did a great job.
The game against the Eagles, I think it was 2002. I think it was 2002 when Shockey had the game-winning touchdown. I believe it was this game. He had like 250, 270 scrimmage yards, but he fumbled like 4 times. It was crazy.
Diehard Giants fan, Fight All Nation, thank you so much. He says, Word can't see his messages when sent, but he's not hidden. I don't know what that means, because if you could see it, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I mean, it's hard for me to keep, there's 400 people in here. It's hard for me to keep track of everybody.
I see a word right there. It said, I don't know anymore. I'm just going to let Tana know on Discord. I see your comments, Word. But again, and people were saying this to me last night. I got to be honest, guys. It's difficult when you have a guest and you're talking to them and you got a good crowd, which we are so appreciative of. It's just hard to see every comment. It's difficult. It is,
Well, especially when you have a guest, like you said, because
it's not.
Yeah. What's going on, Johnny T? He says, do you guys think we win in 2007 with Tiki on the team? My answer to that, honestly, maybe not, because we might not have used the running back by committee. But the most important thing, a lot of people argue that Tiki leaving the team, even though he was their best player, it kind of let Eli take over the leadership role of the team. So even though he's a very talented player, you could argue that we might not have. As crazy as that may sound, because the Giants actually had a very effective ground game. They might have even had a more effective ground game due to the fact that they used the committee approach, as great as Tiki was. So they might not have Baddog won the Super Bowl had Tiki stayed on the team.
Yeah, I mean, that combination of Bradshaw and Jacobs was really good. Bradshaw really came on a lot at the end of the year, so it's hard to say. I mean, again, that's the fallacy of the predetermined outcome. You really don't know. Just because Tiki Barber was a better player than Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw, it doesn't necessarily mean we would have translated into winning the Super Bowl, because the game plan would have been completely different. Yeah. So you really don't know. And again, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of changed the type of offense they run. I mean, I would hope that they would have won. Sim is saying. He says, I disagree. I don't know. You can't definitively say they would have won.
Right. You can't say Burris doesn't shoot himself in the leg like a dumbass. We have a dynasty. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
He killed the Eagles.
Yeah.
He would have beat the Eagles, and there's no way Arizona was flying into the cold climate in the Meadowlands back then and beating us. And we'd beaten the Steelers in the regular season. We would have beaten them again. We were better than them. We were better than everybody in 08. We should have won the Super Bowl. And we should have probably won it again in 2010.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Ward on that team too, the 07 team?
I think Ward was there, but he didn't really see a lot of time. Derek Ward became more of a staple in 2008 when they were fire. But I don't think they used him a lot in 07.
Yeah. But who knows? We'll never know. Let's see what we got here. Where do you guys rank the Giants offensive line going into the season? Top 15, Marco says. I mean, it's very hard to know going in, because they're definitely improved at the tackle position. Solder and Thomas is better than Solder and Remmers. So they're definitely improved at the tackle position. You would think Hernandez should improve due to the fact that he has an improved tackle next to him. It's his 3rd year in the league. But the center position, we don't know what the hell we're going to get.
You also would think a better old line coach, we should be better.
Good point. Yeah. And hopefully
we're going to be an experienced left tackle. We're going to be an experienced at center.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather be inexperienced with a guy like Nick Gates than a Spencer Pulley or a Jalapeno, to be honest with you. And then, right tackle, it's, Solder is inexperienced over there. So it'll be interesting. But
I'm going in with expectations going into the year with all the factors you just said. I think we'll be around league average. But I think the offensive line is trending upwards, obviously.
League average, I'd take it.
Yeah, I think we're going to be around.
Heartbeat.
I think that's where we'll be. I think we'll be close to league average.
I can deal with that.
That's my expectations going in. But I think we're definitely, let's put it this way, by 2021, my expectations will be a top 10 offensive line in the league. And I'm hoping by 2022, we'll be trending towards top 5. But this year, I'll say around league average.
Yeah,
we haven't been league average in forever.
No.
And we got time with the $5 donation. I appreciate it. He says, game in the line, 4th down. Which Giants running back gets it at the 1? And what Giants receiver gets it at the 15-yard line? Are you talking all time, or are you talking on this team? Because that's an easy answer. If you're talking about this team, it's Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
If the game's on the line at the 1 and a wide receiver on this team at the 15-yard line, I would say I would say Shepard or Slayton if you're talking strictly the wide receiver position. If you're talking all time, at the 1, I might even go Brandon Jacobs. He was a great short yardage running back. And if you're going from the 15-yard line, I'd probably go Burris, or we've been asked this before. I think either go Burris or Odell. Burris is great at the 50-50 bowl, and Odell obviously is great at getting open. So if you're talking old time, I think those are the answers. But thank you so much, Phil.
Back, it's got to be Jacobs. I can't imagine it would be anybody else. He was our all-time leading, touchdown scorer as far as running backs go. Maybe Rodney Hampton in his prime, you could make an argument. But Jacobs was just 6'4", 260. He's fast.
He got a yard by accident.
I'm taking him there.
Yeah, I think he was that's what he was great at. Man, thank you so much for love. He says, what was the throw that made you believe Daniel Jones is the real deal? I say the back shoulder pass to Slayton in the Lions game. That was a fantastic throw. He made a bunch of great throws. He made great throws in that Tampa game. The Patriots throw was great. I would say that throw. Even though he didn't play good in that game, Baddog, when you factor in the conditions, when you factor in how good
nobody was healthy.
Nobody was healthy. And you factor in how good that secondary was. They had the best secondary football last year. Now, he had a bad game. I think he threw 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. But that throw to Golden Tate in those conditions might have been his best throw of the year when you factor in everything. So I would actually maybe say that throw. And if you want to go back to preseason.
First touchdown pass he had against the Jets.
Jets.
That made me a believer.
Yeah.
Forgot who that was to. It was to Latimer.
I can't remember who it was to. Might have been to Slayton. Was it to Slayton?
I think it was Slayton. I thought it was Latimer or it wasn't Coleman. I can't think of the other receiver that was like a Cody Latimer. But I thought it was Cody Latimer.
Yeah. But if we're going regular season, I would say I would go with the Patriots. But I agree, Baddog and me. I remember we streamed that game. And when we saw him make that throw, we were like, what? And then Chris Carter came out and said it was a bad throw.
And then I had Chris Carter, a new one, and then Chris Carter apologized because of my video.
It was Benny Fowler. Good call, guys. It was Benny Fowler.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's right. It was Benny Fowler. And Rudy, man, thank you so much for love, man. I appreciate it. He says 2008 Giants were the best team. Then we shot ourselves in the foot. Like, we say it all the time. Baddog's been watching the Giants even longer than me. We say it all the time. It's the best Giants team in modern history. Since
the 86 team, they were more complete than the 86 team.
Yeah, they were top 5 on both sides of the ball. Yep. So that team was incredible. And Chizola, man, thanks so much for love. He says Giants going to win the Super Bowl in 2023 and 2027 with Danny.
I'm in.
These are my predictions. I don't know why, but I am so excited for the preseason. Well, I think we're all excited. At the end of the day, regardless of expectations going into the year, you always get pumped up for football, especially with the pandemic. We want to see sports.
Especially with how bad we've been. You're thinking every year is going to be the year. And when you got all these changes and you got a good draft and we addressed the offensive line, which is something Reese never did or certainly didn't do successfully. And not to mention these corners and the safety that he brought in McKinney and Holmes and the coaching staff. They're no nonsense coaching staff. You're both your coordinators and your head coach are Ivy League guys. So you're excited that the Giants thought outside the box with Joe Judge. That's what made me excited. Yes, I never heard of Joe Judge. And I said, Joe Judge. But when you heard Joe Judge talk, that's a football guy. And you learn from Saban. You learn from Belichick. You can't get better teachers than that. Not that he's going to be those guys. He needs to be his own guy, but you learn a lot of valuable lessons on how to deal with players, I think, more than anything else when you're that type of head coach. And I think that's a very underlooked facet of a head coach is the way you deal with players, having your players respect you as a head coach, which I swear they did not respect McAdoo. DeAndre Baker falling asleep at meetings obviously did not respect Shermer. And the personality, the team's personality takes on the personality of its head coach. Yeah. McAdoo was an arrogant sucker, and the team was arrogant, and they got their doors blown off of them. Shermer was a lazy slug that paid no attention to detail. This team was lazy and didn't pay attention.
Well, they didn't have respect for him either. DeAndre Baker falling asleep in meetings, so on and so forth. Didn't have discipline. Joe Judge is going to bring that. And the other thing that obviously stands out for Joe Judge is his attention to detail. I say it all the time. You look at the coaching staff. He had this coaching staff planned for years. He coached with all these guys throughout the course of his career. The guy is a planner, and I think that alone will be a dramatic improvement. I say it all the time. We talk about Pat Shermer. We were at the game. The way he handled the timeouts against the Jets. They
used them all. 5 minutes ago in a game, he used them all.
He used them all. You know, and
it was the Bears too. If I'm not
like 3 times, I think. Yeah, there was 3 games he used all his uses of the time. Stuff like that. I don't expect to happen with Joe Judge. That alone will be a dramatic improvement for the New York Giants. But I'm excited for Joe Judge. You know, but I'm not. Again, we're not putting too high of expectations year one. But I think he could be a long-term answer. I can't definitively say that. We got to see the results on the field. But I definitely like where it's trending. Yeah. Chizola with the $2 Nation. This is going to be a new era. Our team is a new team. Exactly, Chizola. And that's what's exciting about it. And it's just a new direction in general for the New York Giants. When's the last time they did this, Baddog? You bring in a guy he's 38 years old. It's a fresh coaching staff. They're bringing in all these guys from college, everything else. It's just something new. It feels fresh. It's exciting.
It is. It's definitely, again, it's thinkers, it's teachers, it's guys that, have good football acumen. And again, it's guys that are going to cater to players' strengths and build their game plan around their opponent's weaknesses. And this is the type of thing that we said every week. That's how you're supposed to have a game plan. I'm not a head coach, but I know that you should build your game plan. You do your film study. You do all that's what the head coach is. You work your 15-hour days, and you figure out exactly where these guys are weak, which is why Belichick's so successful, which is why Saban's so successful. They work, and they figure out, they're not good in this situation. They're not good in this particular. 3rd and 4, they're not good here. 3rd and 9, they're not good here. 2nd and 15, they're not good here. 2nd and 1, they're weak here. You do all that. So when those situations come up in the game, you're like, they're going to be weak here. This is the formation we're going to use. This is where we're going to blitz from. This is going to be our defensive schematics on this play. That's what a head coach is supposed to do.
Yep.
Shermer's like, 3rd and 9, run it. 2nd and 1, let's throw it 40 yards down the field.
All right, but let's move on. Let's move on from the Shermer. We've moved on. Mark with the $2. Mark with the $2. Then he says, you could tell Joe is his own guy. Way more outgoing. Yeah, he is. He's definitely his own guy. And the other thing you hear about Joe Judge from a lot of his former players is his sense of humor. He's a guy that relates well to the players. Even though he's a hard guy, he's definitely still has his own personality. He's going to be his own man, and that's what you want. You don't want somebody that's where these guys who have learned under Belichick have gotten in trouble in the past. You can't mimic the greatest coach of all time and do exactly what he does. You can't do it.
Right. Like I said, you learn. Like I said, more than anything, you probably learn how to handle players, but you have to be your own man when it comes to being a head coach. Yeah. And another thing that I like about Jojo, he's very young. I think players can relate to a guy that's 38 as opposed to 58.
Right.
I think that's part of it. You don't see a lot of – there's older head coaches in the league, but you look at guys like McVay. You look at your younger coaches. Obviously, Andy Reid is an older coach, but Andy Reid's always been a great coach. Guys like that. So I think Belichick, same thing. But when they were young, they were very good. Belichick was the youngest defensive coordinator in football when the Giants were winning their Super Bowls, when they won their first Super Bowl. Right. So I think that has something to do with it. And this is a guy that comes with fresh ideas. This is a guy that is not a retread. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see exactly what our game plans are from week to week, and to me much more competitive.
That to me is the most exciting aspect of this year. Exactly what you just said. The game plans week to week, and as YouTube content creators trying to come up with what we think the strategy is going to be. Because, like you said, I don't think you're going to be able to pinpoint on both sides of the ball what type of team this is going to be. That's what Joe Judge wants to present. He wants to be a chameleon. He wants to be a completely different team week 1 to week 4 based on the opponent. And that, to me, is going to be one of the most intriguing things to watch this year with the New York Giants.
And that was the Patriots. The Patriots did, and I say this every week, you don't want to ever pick a fantasy player from the Patriots. 1 week it's Gettleman. 1 week it was Amendola. 1 week it was Dion Lewis. 1 week, it was Rex Burkhead. 1 week it was Gronk. 1 week it was this guy. You never knew. It was 1 week it's Sony Michel. You never know who the guy is. because game plan different for every team. So it's not like they had a go-to guy every week. They had a game plan that they changed every week according to their opponent's weakness. That's why Belichick succeeds. When he succeeded as a defensive coordinator against the Bills in Super Bowl 25, he said, okay, we are going to, and I think they mention this in the game. I think they say this, one of the announcers. The Giants are running the clock out for the first play of the game. They're running the clock out. The first play of the game, that's what the Giants are doing.
Yeah.
That's what Belichick wanted to do. We don't have a great offense. We're not going to be a high-flying offense. We're going to rest our defense. We're going to pound guys in the mouth. They're going to wear down the opposing defense. We're going to keep offenses off the field. That's how he won those games. So that's what I'm excited about, I think.
And I will say, and Fabian, have a great night. I saw he said good night. Hopefully you're still here. But I will say that I think we have the types of players on both sides of the ball that they may not be ready yet. They're young, but they're able to do different things. I think the Giants have the capability of being an offense that could jam it down your throat if we block properly. And I think we have a quarterback capable in certain instances if the weather's, conducive to the playing style, if they have a weakness at cornerback that can air out the football. So I think we have versatility on both sides of the ball. Main focus, man. Thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, what percentage of the O-line play has a role in the fumbles Daniel Jones had in his rookie season? 80% for me. To be completely honest with you, main focus, I would have to go back and watch all the film and watch all the fumbles for me to honestly answer that. I'll give you an example. The one against the Jets, the offensive line was horrible, but that's a play where you can't let Jamal Adams just rip the ball out of his hands. Right. There were definitely some plays where Daniel Jones has to get a lot better. He has to get better pocket awareness. But absolutely, so a lot of them obviously are going to have to do with the offensive line, but some of it, like I always say, and it's not even him holding onto the football, has to do with a rookie quarterback learning opposing defenses, and that's common for a rookie quarterback. Pre-snap reads, things like that. I think that definitely affected the offensive line play as well in terms of sacks. I think some of it, I would say it's more like 50-50, Bad Dog, but like I said, I'd have to go back and watch the film.
That's probably what I would say, because like you said, I mean, Nate Solder was out with a concussion that game. Spencer Pulley, I think it was Spencer Pulley, came in and got blown off the ball. But Daniel Jones has to see that and just go down at that point. The pocket awareness needs to get better. But then there was a game against the Cardinals where he had no chance. He hit his back foot and he was on the ground. I mean, there's nothing you can do, when you're hitting your back foot and you're getting hit. So, yeah, I think it's 50-50. And I think that you're going to see Jason Garrett teach him. And he's going to teach himself because he's working at that. And he's admitted that this is the most important thing I'm working on is ball control. And again, Lamar Jackson cleaned up the fumbles after his rookie season, and a lot of players can. That's something that can be fixed. It's much better than him struggling with his accuracy.
Of course,
if he held on to the ball, but he wasn't accurate, I'd be much more worried about his future than holding on to the ball but being accurate. So
yeah, it's correctable. It's correctable. And I'm going to do a video on this. Like I said, I don't know all the numbers right now, but I've already went back and looked. There's a lot of great quarterbacks, Tom Brady included, who had fumbling problems early on. So it's definitely something that's correctable. Now, these quarterbacks were not as dramatic as Daniel Jones. He had a ridiculous amount, but they definitely cleaned it up. And I definitely think Daniel Jones could clean it up as well. So
I did a video on that months ago about the fumbles and comparing him to like a Lamar Jackson and the Carson Wentz and the Tom Brady's that they did. They turned it over a lot.
Yeah.
Even Eli Manning turned it over a lot. It's part of being a rookie quarterback, and you learn.
Yeah, no, for sure. Chizola, man, thanks so much for love, man. I appreciate it. He says, Joe Judge is that teacher no one wants to F with. Yeah, I agree with that. And Chizola with another $2 donation. He says, I am excited for Garrett's offense. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited for Garrett's offense. And people, a lot of people laughed when we brought in Garrett because we're always making fun of him with the claps and everything else. But, we say it all the time, man. Garrett was a good offensive play caller. That's why he became a head coach. And his offensive system fits what we want as Giants fans. We want every week we scream we want Saquon Barkley to get the ball. Well, you look at what the success he had with his running backs. DeMarco Murray led the league in rushing with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, of course, it was a strong offensive line, but he's going to pay attention to trying to run the ball, and they're going to take shots down the field, which I think fits Daniel Jones' skill set. So I'm excited for the offense as well.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah, and Saheed with the $2 donation says, number 8, is that Jeffrey Abbey? He says, is better than Trevor. You better believe it. I don't know if he's better than Trevor. I don't know if he's not. I know that we got our quarterback, and I know that we have a lot more areas of need on this team for next year. I believe in Daniel Jones. I believe in building the foundation around him. I'm not worried about bringing in another quarterback. That's my mindset.
No, and you don't know what Trevor Lawrence is going to be. He can be great. Yeah. A lot of quarterbacks that were great in college don't necessarily translate to the NFL. I think Lawrence will. I think Lawrence is very special talent. I don't think there's any doubt. I honestly think that Trevor Lawrence will have a better NFL career than Joe Burrow. Even though he plays in a much weaker conference. But I think Joe Burrow, a lot of his success was the offensive coordinator that they brought in LSU, because outside of last season, you never heard of Joe Burrow being a Heisman candidate. He blew up, and obviously having Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson certainly helped that aspect. He doesn't have those guys on the Bengals. So we'll see. But I think I always thought Trevor Lawrence was a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. So we'll see. But he's not going to be a Giant, guys. Again, if anybody watched that video I did, I only did that because somebody asked that last night, and I thought that was a good question and a good topic, that it's not as it's far-fetched, but it could happen if the scenario was the fact that which is kind of did it, because I'm trying to tell you that you don't want to fire Dave Gettleman. Because if you do, you are chancing that I don't like Barkley, gone. I don't like Jones, gone.
Yeah.
I don't like Peppers, gone. I don't like Slayton, gone. I'm bringing my own guys in here.
It would be that. Look what happened when we brought Gettleman in. Odell Beckham, gone. Landon Collins, gone. Snacks Harrison, gone.
Olivier Vernon, gone.
When a new GM comes in, and we don't know if that would happen, even if they got rid of him, it could be a guy promoted from within, similar to what they did with Jerry Reese, but it might not be. If they bring in a guy in from the outside who has no attachment to the inner workings of the New York Giants team right now, he's going to paint his own canvas. He might say to himself, Daniel Jones ain't my guy. My job relies on the quarterback. Daniel Jones ain't my guy. I don't believe in strong defensive tackle play. Dexter Lawrence is gone. You don't know what that guy's mindset is going to be. And if you keep flipping and flipping and flipping,
you become the Knicks.
You become the Knicks. And if you don't have patience, you have to let their vision carry out. And whether it's going to work or not, because then a new guy's going to come in with a vision, and suddenly you're back to year one of the rebuild.
Right.
So
you need stability, because the other thing is, and this is part of the Knicks problem, when you don't have stability and it's consistently turnover, nobody wants to come here. You're not going to get your best candidates.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say, I don't want to go play for a dysfunctional organization that's going nowhere, that's mired winning between 4 and 8 games, or 2 and 7 games every year. I don't want to play for that team. Yeah. They can't get themselves together. I'm going to go somewhere else that actually has a vision and a plan on building a future and winning Super Bowls. So that's why no matter what happens, I feel like you got to stick. Now the reason I did that is because I don't think they will, but I don't want Gettleman gone. I don't.
I don't.
You need to let Gettleman's plan come to fruition. You need to see what happens. You can't gauge guys after 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. And John Larson, I think you're right. I think if they move on from Gettleman, I think it will be from within. I think it would be Abrams for that reason, because I don't think they'd want a lot of turnover. They would want to continue. And I have a conspiracy theory. I don't know if I ran you by this, Baddog. Maybe I did. I can't remember. But this is my theory. I think that the Giants had the ability to definitely move on from Gettleman. We've talked about this before. Due to the fact they were moving on from Shermer. So even you and me would have been like, we get it. You want a fresh start. You bring in a new head coach. You want to bring the GM with him. We would have gotten it. I think they left Gettleman on so it takes away heat from Joe Judge. In the first year of Joe Judge's here, if you would have brought in a complete new GM and Joe Judge goes out there, they win 2 or 3 games, everybody's going to blame. They're going to point to Joe Judge. Even though it's his first year, they're going to be like, this guy can't coach. By leaving Gettleman on, if you win 2 games, everybody points to Gettleman. He's the villain. And part of me thinks that might have been the strategy for leaving him on when they could have started from scratch to take away heat from Joe Judge.
That's definitely a possibility. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, if you get rid of Gettleman, what are you going to do with Judge?
No, I was not. I like Gettleman, but I'm just talking about from the.
No, I know, but I'm saying if they do move on, but this is what happened when we fired Coughlin, they should have fired Reese.
Yeah.
Then he came out and he drafted Eli Apple in 2000. Not that there was a lot of great players there. They should have taken Tunsil. That was the guy that they should have taken there. But he drafted Eli Apple. He drafted Evan Ingram, which was something we certainly did not need. And his draft picks were terrible. And then they got rid of him and McAdoo at the same time. Then you bring in Shermer and Gettleman. And part of the reason I think we ended up with Shermer is because exactly what I just said. We were dysfunctional and a bad team. You're not going to get your best head coach candidates. And now we got rid of Shermer, so I don't want to be like, well, now we brought a Judge. Now we're going to get rid of Gettleman. We're going to keep Judge with a new GM.
Right.
Just keep them together for a few years and let's see what happens.
Let the rebuild
Can't be worse.
I've seen NY Giants 26 ask this a bunch of time. I will get to it. He says, where do you rank our safety duo? I'll get to it. Mark Tversky with the $2 donation. He says, DJ is great. I've been saying it. Can't teach accuracy. You can't. And he's definitely a guy that definitely could be great. Let's put it that way. And I'm definitely willing to see it out and give him the opportunity to do so. I'm not going to have him. I'm going to recognize that he's learning a new offense and he may struggle the first 4 or 5 games due to the fact he's playing tough defenses, new offense. I'm not going to be jumping down his throat early on in the season. Hopefully he goes out there and lights it up. But if he doesn't, I'm going to understand why there's a good chance why he might not be. Let's put it that way. I'm going to be fair to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, you got to be fair to him.
Yeah, you got to be fair. And then the other question, where do the Giants safeties rank? First thing I'm going to say is, we don't know. McKinney's a rookie. Jabril Peppers, we got to see him. He's a guy that could fit this defense. The other thing I'm going to say is this is a positionless defense. So they're not just strictly safeties per se. But I think both those players fit this defense very well, and I think both of them could have a high impact. I'd have to look at every safety pairing. Regardless, I think they have upside, and I think they could be very good players for this New York Giants defense this year. I don't know where I'd rank them, but I think they're versatile. I think they fit the scheme.
I agree. I don't think you can put a number on it, but I do think that you're going to see both of these guys, the ability to play in the box, the ability to play in the slot, the ability to play strong and free safety. I think there's a lot of things that they can do. And again, I think the Giants got an Isaiah Simmons type player in McKinney. It's just the difference is McKinney is smaller and listed as a safety and not as fast. But if you look at his PFF grades, he's better at coverage. He's better at blitzing. He was better at everything. According to that, and again, I don't really agree with PFF ever, but I don't even know if it was PFF. Whatever grading system I saw, he actually was higher than Isaiah Simmons in everything. So I do think McKinney's going to have an impact on this team. Hot take, and again, it's just me being biased, but I said defensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year, Xavier McKinney. Watch.
I think he could be in contention. I'm going Chase Young, but I think he could be in contention.
The hell, he's a Redskin, Chris. He's going to be a mark.
Saeed with the $2 donation. He says number 8 equals young Aaron Rodgers.
For that comparison too,
I hope so. That if he's a young Aaron Rodgers, we're gonna be in good shape. We might not be winning Super Bowls. Rodgers only won 1, but we're gonna be in good shape.
That's because his coach stunk.
His coach did stink. So yeah, from your lips to God's ears, as we always say. I hope so. I don't know if I see that, but I'd be ecstatic if he was. That's for sure. But I definitely think he'd be a very good quarterback. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Watch the Duke film. DJ has some Peyton-esque throws, footwork, and other mechanics. Listen, DJ, I've watched the Duke film. I did a film breakdown, and he was impressive at times. The one thing that sticks out to me with Daniel Jones at Duke and with the New York Giants, more so than anything else, is his willingness to take a hit. And it's something that we kind of criticized Eli Manning for late in his career. And I can't really blame Eli Manning.
I never criticized him for that.
Yeah, not so much criticized, but we said that he lost that. Late in his career. Due to the fact that Eric Flowers, he got happy feet. He had PTSD. But Eli Manning, when he was at his best, we talk about it all the time against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC title game. The guy took a beating. And he stood in there and he delivered the throws. And that's one thing that really stands out with Daniel Jones, especially on his college tape, because of how bad his offensive line was.
Yeah, well, the other thing is he was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the country against the blitz. Because of that, because he can stand in there, take a hit, and deliver an accurate football, which is something you definitely need at the NFL level, which is something Dwayne Haskins does not do well. He is not good with guys in his face, and you are going to have guys in your face at the NFL. So that was a big reason when I started doing the Daniel Jones be better than quarterbacks. That had a lot to do with the Dwayne Haskins thing, was that I don't think he's good under pressure. I know he's not good under pressure, and I don't care how strong his arm is. He's not as accurate as Daniel Jones. And I've said this before. If Dwayne Haskins is a quarterback at Duke, Dwayne Haskins is not in the NFL. If Daniel Jones plays on that Ohio State team, number one, they win a national championship. And number two, you're saying he's the first overall pick in the draft. I mean, Dwayne Haskins played with 7 NFL players on his offense. Or 6.
And a great offensive mind with the head coach. I mean, yeah, he definitely was in a very good situation. I don't think anybody would debate that. And Daniel Jones was not. Daniel Jones was in probably as bad of a situation as you could ask for. Yeah, bad wide receivers, bad offensive line. Was probably the worst team one of the worst teams in the conference outside of the quarterback position. He willed them to a run.
He won 2 bowl games there at Duke. They don't win bowl games.
Yeah, I'm saying without him,
right?
If they have a typical Duke quarterback, they're probably a 3-win team. So
right. Yep.
You know, he definitely was very valuable for that.
Actually played very well against Clemson the year they won the championship. Now, they didn't score a lot.
Yeah, that was the game I did the film review on.
A lot of really good drives in that game. So
yeah, that was the game I did the film review on. He was incredibly impressive in that game. They didn't have a lot of points, but considering the difference in talent,
right.
He did a hell of a job. Main focus, man. Thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, outside of Williams' trade, Gettleman is a great GM to me. The cap space was horrible, and the talent on the offense was built from the outside in. Yeah, I always try to be fair and unbiased. I don't know if I would say I like Gettleman. I never hide that. Baddog likes Gettleman. I think from what he was handed, and and I'm not trying to knock Jerry Reese, but I try to put things in perspective. You look at what Jerry Reese inherited, and you look at what Dave Gettleman inherited, and you got to give Gettleman some leeway. He basically was handed dirt, and they said make a tree out of it. Well, for a tree to grow, it takes a couple of years. And
that's a great analogy, Chris. That was beautiful.
I appreciate that.
I like that.
And as far as Jerry Reese goes, he was handed a tree, and they said put the finishing touches on it, and that's what he did. He had a good draft in 2007, but you couldn't expect Gettleman to come in here and work magic. He had no cap space, and he had aging veterans that they had to get rid of. So
backloaded contracts of older players.
Yeah,
can't win with that. Just can't. Yeah. And an offensive line that was in shambles, which is why he had to go out and get Nate Solder.
Right, exactly.
He had nothing to do. And the same thing with Ogletree, because the linebacking core was so pathetic, and it still hasn't gotten good. Let's be honest, which is the biggest reason I clamored for Isaiah Simmons, just because the linebacker plays so bad. But you do see, glimpses of a lot of talent with Lorenzo Carter and O'Shane Ximines. Now, I expect Lorenzo Carter to be a lot better. He disappointed me last year. I think a lot of that had to do with the coaching staff. I really do. So I'm still high on Lorenzo Carter. I'm high on X-Men. O'Shane Ximines. Actually, we have two X-Men now. But I think both of those guys can have big seasons. And I think Kyler Fackrell could be a big-time sleeper. I think he could be that Marcus Golden from last year. So, again, these guys are going to be versatile. They're going to have a bunch of different game plans. They're going to mix it up. They're going to give you a lot of different looks. And I think the defense can be improved.
Yeah. And I think it will be too. I think the whole team's going to be improved. But we're trying to put it in perspective and tell people that they're playing a tough schedule and they're learning a new system. Jerry Reese is like, where's Waldo now, Joe? What's going on? By the way, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for being here. Simma Singh in the house, Dennis in the house, Big Blue Baby. We're gonna be live for about another 20 minutes. Thank you to everybody for popping in. Marjorie in the house. Don't forget about Conley. Conley played very well for the most part in the 3 games. And he's a guy that at least needs the opportunity to carve out a niche with the New York Giants. I'll agree with that if he's healthy. And Mark with the $5 donation. I appreciate that. He says, DJ's potential is unlimited. His skill sets reminds me of Aaron Rodgers with accuracy, physical gifts, and IQ. Now he's just got to prove that he's got the clutch gene.
Well,
I love you guys' optimism.
He did prove it. We didn't win many games. Tampa Bay. He let him down to the game-winning touchdown. Granted, our defense tried to give that up. Shit fun. They would certainly try to give it up. But luckily, William Gay missed the kick. And then against Washington, took the ball and right down the field, scored a touchdown in overtime. He does have the clutch gene. Obviously, the situations are not the same as, Eli Manning having to drive you down with 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl to win it. But listen, he's got the same type of makeup as Eli. He was coached by the same guys. So there's no doubt in my mind when Jones gets that opportunity, and he will very soon, that he will show you that he can be clutch and lead this team to a huge victory in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. And I love it. Stealth Raven. By the way, that can't be the real Stealth Raven. That is Stealth Raven would never come in and say terrible stream.
It's definitely not.
It's a troll, guys. You get those, especially when you get bigger. You get people that just hate people, and that's what they do, guys.
People that are just jealous,
lazy
bums. They're bums. They have nothing to do.
Yeah.
They're sitting on their couch, fat as all hell, eating Cheetos out of their belly button. I'm going to take. This stream stinks. Oh, okay. Do one of your own. Let's see how much traffic you get in there, because I'm sure you can do a much better job.
Yeah, they all can. They're all.
Of course, they're great.
It's like us. We're armchair quarterbacks. They're armchair quarterbacks too. So, good luck. But anyway, what's going on, guys? Jones.
Nikki says Baddog's the type of guy that slaps my girl's butt, and I look away as if nothing happened.
I see you, Word. He says, no, but seriously, I think someone is blocking me on here. I see you, Word. And Goat says Abby is the GOAT. I appreciate that, Big Blue Baby. Should we block this cat? Afghanistan, yeah, you could block him. The guy's a jerk. Yeah, I
no reason to keep the guy.
I give you permission. Billy, I saw Sims, by the way, too. Billy Sims or whatever.
Too. He comes to my streams.
He was being a troll all the time. You could block him. You can block him.
Block those guys, but they'll just come back with other accounts because again, they got nothing to do.
They got nothing to do.
Huh. They're gonna go pleasure themselves to rabbit porn later, and they got nothing better to do. So just block them and make them do some work. Make them up another account. Give us another view, which helps out the channel, and block them again.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It's like clockwork. And I saw Alphabets in the chat.
Blockwork, Chris. Block them.
Blockwork. What's up there, Chris Sonor? Let's see what we got here. Screw the troll. Oh, yeah, hot take. By the way, hot take hockey, man. Glad you're in here, man. Sorry if I missed you earlier. Another guy with a great channel. Always like to shout him out. He's got a great hockey channel, so go over there, check him out.
Yes.
Chris, have you already forgotten about Julian Love? No, I've not forgotten about Julian Love. Julian Love, I think
earlier.
What'd you say?
I said we talked about him earlier that he and Darnay Holmes could battle for the corner spot opposite Bradbury if Baker's suspended.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's a positionless defense. Julian Love's going to play.
Yes.
Whether they're playing Peppers up at the linebacker, he'll play some safety, he'll play some slot corner. He's going to play. No, I've not forgotten about Julian Love. I think he fits this defense very nicely as well. He's another player who's incredibly versatile. It's almost as if he was drafted for this defense last year, even though he wasn't. I like Julian Love a lot. I think he's going to play well for the Giants.
I do too.
Let's see what we got.
Last year, so
yeah. Let's see what we got. Judge is great. Yeah, we all love Judge. Thanks, guys. No worries. I've just been listening. Love the convo. Show looks great tonight. Appreciate that, HTH.
I think both Chris and I have decided, at least me, I mean, when I'm solo, like for the baseball games, or if I'm just doing a hangout, like I'm just going to use OBS. But if I have a guest, the StreamYard is just so easy to use. So.
It's so much more efficient, too.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm using the StreamYard from now on. Bradbury's a dark horse player. I don't even know if he's a dark horse player, Andrew. I mean, I think he's a guy that we have expectations for going in. I mean, to me, people ask me who's the most realistic Pro Bowler on this defense. I think it's Bradbury. I'm going in with high expectations and high hopes for Bradbury. And we
played against some of the best receivers in the NFL. He played against Michael Thomas twice a year. He played against Julio Jones twice a year. So it's obvious he's played against the best. And in this division, he's going to have to go against guys like Terry McLaurin. He's going to have to go against guys like Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb. There's nobody on the Eagles wide receiver core that worries me. Of course, they'll tell you that every one of their receivers is an all-pro and going to the Hall of Fame. Jalen Reagor is going to be the next Jerry Rice. And of course, Hightower is going to be the next Randy Moss. And Alshon Jeffrey is still one of the best receivers in the league. And it doesn't matter who the hell they have, so it really doesn't matter. But they stink. They got no receiving core at all.
And I want to say, Big Bang, I want to make sure I don't miss him. I try to get everybody. Thank you for tuning in the stream, Big Bang. Thank you for being a great supporter. Independent Outsider with the $2 donation. He says, what formations are the biggest issues for the Giants D now? What do you mean? In the way that the New York Giants line up, or do you mean opposing offenses? But that's a good question. I mean, I don't think they have an issue. The issue for this team is they're inexperienced, but I think they have players that are capable of playing in both the 3-4 and 4-3 alignment. I think they have a lot of DBs that they could play if they want to go with a package with extra DBs out there.
Right.
I think they have flexibility. I don't think that there's a formation that they necessarily lack the players capable of playing in it. I think they have players that lack experience and they're young. But I think they have players that could play in both the 4-3 and the 3-4.
Yeah, if nothing else, I mean, still we lack that big, rusher off the edge. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, those passing downs where you really need to get to the quarterback on like a 3rd and 9 without a blitz. It'd be nice to be able to drop off 7 in coverage and rush 4 and still get to the quarterback. If there's one weakness that I see, it's that. Where on 3rd and 8, you want to get to the – you don't want to allow to survey the field, no matter how good or bad or secondary is. You don't want the quarterback to be able to survey the field for 5 seconds when it's 3rd and long. You want to be able to get there without necessarily bringing a blitz. Maybe that's where the biggest weakness is on this team. It would be that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think he said after the fact, opposing offenses. Well, I mean, I think the biggest concern we got to have for opposing offenses is the same concern we had last year, and hopefully it gets better with guys like Darnay Holmes, guys that can cover the middle of the field. But I would say where the teams are going to pick on us is not the run game. I think we have a stout defensive line. It's going to be picking on the inside part of the field with slot wide receivers, the tight ends, and maybe even the second cornerback spot, especially if Deandre Baker doesn't play. But yeah, I think the middle of the field is our weakness. So teams with good opposing tight ends and slot receivers and things like that.
That's why you hope that's what McKinney's there for. McKinney should be able to take away a tight end or something like that. But we'll see. I agree. I still, because the linebackers still don't have a coverage linebackers, so the middle of the field could definitely be a problem for us again. Yeah,
for sure. And main focus, man, thanks so much for the love. I appreciate it. He says Slayton Pro Bowler 2020 in the Garrett offense. I mean, I made a video on this, and it was kind of just to prove a point in my title. I said Slayton Pro Bowler. I think he's going to be at least a near Pro Bowler. I think Darius Slayton, especially due to the fact that they didn't really spend a high draft pick on a wide receiver, I think he's going to get the opportunity. I think of all the wide receivers in this offense, he fits it the best, and I think that he had chemistry with Daniel Jones last year. So maybe he won't make the Pro Bowl, but I think he's going to have a very good year. If he stays healthy, I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't have at least 900 to 950 yards at minimum. And I think he'll have at least 8 touchdowns. So I think Slayton's going to have a good year. I'm going to have him close to 1050 to 1100 yards with 9 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a good year.
You just got the reason it'd be hard for him to get in the Pro Bowl. You look at the receivers in the NFC. You got Amari Cooper. You got Michael Thomas. You got Julio Jones. You got DeAndre Hopkins now.
Yeah.
So it is stacked, and everybody on the Eagles, of course, they'll tell you they'll probably be a Pro Bowler. But you also Stephon Diggs actually moved on to the Bills, so he's not there anymore. But Adam Thielen is another one. They have a lot of good Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin. There are some really good receivers in the NFC. So he'd have to have a spectacular year in order to make the Pro Bowl. Now, of course, a lot of guys back out of that. Guys, there's going to be an NFC team that makes a Super Bowl. Obviously, maybe one of them. They don't play in the Pro Bowl. I mean, it's possible, but it's a long shot.
Yeah, I think he's going to have near Pro Bowl numbers. Let's put it that way. But because, like Baddog said, there's a lot of competition. Maybe he doesn't make the Pro Bowl. One thing that I was shocked, and we were talking about in my Discord, we're going to get to the Super Chats in a second, guys. One thing I was shocked, if you go back and look at the numbers last year, I was blown away by this. There was only 2 wide receivers in all of football last year that had double-digit touchdowns. When I saw it, I was like, are you kidding me? And Darius Slayton, if he played the whole year, he might have had double-digit touchdowns. He might have led. I think the league leader was 10 touchdowns. If I remember,
Michael Thomas had to have double-digit touchdowns.
I don't remember. I think there were 3 players. One was a tight end, though. There were only 2 wide receivers with double-digit touchdowns, and I think 10 was the leader. So I was shocked by that, but that was just something I was thinking of as we were talking. Mark with the $2 donation, I appreciate it. He says, if Love can play the single high, it'll be perfect safety trio. Yes, I think they're going to have a lot of 3 safety sets. We talked about that as well in the past. I agree with that. I think they're going to have a lot of 3 safety sets, and I think it will be a nice trio. And David Biago, man, thanks so much for love. I really appreciate it. He says, do you think the NFC West could decline a little? Some feel Ingram, not built to be an every down tight end through the injuries, more of a slot wide receiver. Thoughts? Do I think the NFC West could decline a little? No. I mean, I still think the Seahawks are good. I still think the Niners are good. Maybe
they're going to be better.
Yeah, maybe the Niners decline a little bit, but they're still a playoff team. They're still at least a 10 or 11 win team. And I still think the Seahawks are right there. I'm not as high on the Cardinals as you, but I think they're at least as good as they were last year, at least. The Rams could definitely take a step back, but as a division, I think they're at least what they were. Let's put it that way. I don't know if they'll take a step up, but
Thomas had 9 touchdowns. Okay.
And as far as Ingram, what was it, Baddog? With the touchdowns?
Oh, they said Mike Thomas had 9. Michael Thomas had 9.
Oh, Michael Thomas had 9, yeah. As far as the slot wide receiver question with Ingram, we get asked that all the time. I think they're going to use Ingram as a wide receiver maybe a little bit more than they have in the past, but I don't see him being moved there more so than at the tight end because of what we talk about all the time. He presents a mismatch at that position. He'll be used as a wide receiver at times. They'll move him around, but I still think he lines up at the tight end at least 60% of the time. I don't know the numbers.
He loses his value as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he'd have to learn a whole other playbook. How good is he really? I mean, how good is his route tree as a wide receiver? I mean, to me, again, it goes. I always use the baseball, the pitching analogy. If you have one pitch, you throw 100 miles an hour and you have one pitch. It doesn't matter if your other pitches are no good or you can't locate. Like John Ross broke the all-time record for the 2.40. He stinks as a wide receiver.
Right.
It's all about your route tree in the NFL. Guys like, do you think Wes Welker and Julian Edelman? Julian Edelman's a Hall of Fame receiver. Julian Edelman is 5'10", runs a 4.6, 4.7, 4. Physically, he's nothing. But his route tree and his hands were fantastic. So that's, to me, the most important thing, which is why I'm so high on CeeDee Lamb, because I felt like CeeDee Lamb has all of those things. He's not the fastest guy in the world, runs a 4.5. Jerry Rice ran a 4.6. Jerry Rice was 6'2". It's not like Jerry Rice was 6'4" and ran a 4.4, but they had all the fundamentals that make a wide receiver.
Antonio Brown, another one.
Right. Yeah, he's a shorter guy. So
he wasn't supremely gifted. He was like, what, a sixth round? He was a late pick.
Yep. Yeah. So it just depends on your game plan and the way these guys execute the game plan. Yeah,
100%. And Andy, man, thanks so much for love, man. He said paid $200 for a signed Daniel Jones card. Thoughts? I mean, at the end of the day, if you wanted it.
Which year? Which May?
Yeah, he knows better than me.
I can tell you everything about the sports card market. Everything. I've been in that market for 30 years. So I don't know which one you got, but if it's his rookie, it's autographed. Is it graded? Is it numbered? Is it a refractor? There's so many things that go into the value of a card.
I would imagine it's probably a rookie. And if it is, I think it's a good investment. Similar to what you're not that he's going to be Tom Brady, but to get a guy, an autograph that early in his career, it's possible if he takes off in the next couple of years, it's $600 or $700. You're buying him before you think he might take off.
You could have bought him at the beginning of the year for like $40.
Yeah.
That's what I did with Brady. I've told this story a bunch of times, man. I bought a bunch of 2000 Bowman Chrome Tom Brady rookies for like $1. Because he was a nobody. I'm like, I just like Bowman Chrome rookies. They're always worth the most. Sure enough, Brady ended up being great, and now they're worth tens of thousands of dollars. So
good investment. It's like buying a stock. Independent, man. Thanks so much for love. He says, what stats are accepted from Solder sucked in 19? Well, last year he gave up 57 pressures. It was 7 more than any other player in the league. He's got to cut that down to at least 40 minimum. Remmers had 40, and that was still bad, but he's got to cut that down by a third. And it'll be acceptable for me. He can't be anywhere near where he was last year. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, he's got to be much, much, much better.
Yeah.
He will be.
I think he'll be. He can't be worse.
Child last year.
Yeah.
Listen, man. At the end of the day, you can say, "Oh, you got to go out and play football." But listen, man. When it's your kid, they're human. At the end of the day, I mean, they got problems just like we do. They don't have money problems like we do, but they have human problems. They have family problems. They have other problems that we don't have. So,
they're human beings.
And he was very good with the Patriots. So we got that Patriot type of thing going on here, hopefully. And I think he'll have a much better year. I don't think that he'll be lights out. He's not going to be a Pro Bowl. Can you imagine if he was? That'd be amazing. But I don't expect that from him. But I do think he'll play a lot better. I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's the guy I said earlier. I saw Nate say something. I want to get to it, but first I'm going to get to the super chat, and then I'll try to get to Nate's comment. Big Bang with the $5 donation. He says, I think people forget how we never had all our weapons play together all season. With good health and DJ progression, we can have a top 15 offense. I think Big Bang, I've gone as far to say I think we could have a top 10.
Yeah, I've said the same thing. Between 9th and 13th, I think we can be.
Yeah, I think we could. It doesn't mean we will, but I think we have the weapons necessary if we could stay healthy with an improved offensive line. Saquon Barkley's, in my opinion, is not just best running back. I think he's the best weapon in the sport. And with an improved offensive line, if he's healthy, there's no reason to think we can't have close to a top 10 offense. So I completely agree with that. I saw Nate kept asking me this question. I wanted to get it. Chris, how about this scenario? We end up at number 1. So he's talking about 2021. Not happening. I'm not going in negative. We're not ending up with number 1, but let's play your game. Instead of taking Lawrence, we trade down and take Rousseau in the top 10 and Parsons in the top 20. Boom, defense fixed. Well, yeah. I mean, that would be exactly what I wanted. Now, I don't know if we get those two players, but yes, if we're picking at number 1 and Daniel Jones had a good year, I would much sooner trade down and accrue a lot of assets. You would get a ton. with a guy like Trevor Lawrence. And yes, I'm with you on that. I would try to fill a lot of holes. Let's see. We got Mark with the $2 donation. I appreciate it. He says, DJ's card will be worth thousands after he wins a Super Bowl. I hope his card's worth 10,000. I hope he wins 10 Super Bowls. So
yeah,
hopefully it's a great investment. And Andy, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, BGS 9.5. No, oh, he's talking about the card.
That's like a grading service. Yeah.
9.5 notable rookie in case signed. 50. You got to get into trading cards. The market is getting hot. Trade all my Brady cards for all your Brady cards for your Jones. He's saying.
He says trade all my Brady cards for all your Jones. I'm never trading those. Those are part of my retirement. When Brady retires, those cards are gone.
Yeah.
I figure market value, those are worth about $70,000. Those Brady's. I have a bunch of 9s and 10s. I don't have any autographed Brady's, which sucks. I wish I would have bought autographed Brady's, especially the Contenders one, but I just never did. I just bought a bunch of raw rookies because again they were like $1 a piece. So I was like, the hell with it. I'll just grab those. But
that was
our market is on fire right now. It is
really.
Oh God, man! The '80s cards that were never worth a dime are worth a fortune. It's not a fortune, but like an '86 Topps traded Bo Jackson PSA 10s like $400. An '88 Topps football Bo Jackson rookie is $600. It's ridiculous. Those were nothing, and now they're. I
wonder why. Because I was always under the impression that with all the card companies, it was kind of killing the value of trading cards when I was growing up.
Well, growing up in the '80s, that's what happened. They mass produced so many things, but the fact of the matter is they were such poor quality that finding PSA 10s, which means there's no flaw in the card whatsoever, it's difficult. Especially with like 89 Donruss, they have dark borders, so they chip easily. But it is crazy. I didn't realize it hit all sports. I knew that basketball took off because of The Last Dance. It made Pippen stuff, Rodman stuff, Jordan stuff worth a lot more. Jordan stuff was worth a lot anyway. Right. It made Bird and Magic work. They tripled. They went from $1,000 to $3,000
because of The Last Dance.
Stuff went from $1,400 to $3,000. It's insane.
Wow.
That's why I'm addicted to eBay. It's why I'm my wife's gonna kill me if she ever sees what I'm buying on it. The eBay app's too easy, and I'm just like, I need a Griffey rookie. I need a Joe Carter rookie. I need this rookie. I need that rookie. I could use a couple more Ripkins and Gwynns, and yeah. I bought Kobe, Shaq, Alex English. I bought Kevin McHale. I bought a ton of basketball cards.
I got a lot of Kobe's. I've probably got like 10 rookie Kobe's, but they're not, graded.
Graded, man. I'm telling you, those things are worth money.
Yeah,
money big right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Huh. Interesting. Just want to say a couple more people. We're going to close this out in about 5-10 minutes, guys. Thank you for being here. Raphael says, hey, Chris and Baddog, who do you guys think will be the 2 starting middle linebackers? Well, Martinez, obviously. And you know what? The second one I think is I think it's going to be Martinez is definite. And, it's all going to depend on the type of defense. I think there's going to be some package where you have Peppers at the middle linebacker. If Conley's healthy, I think he'll be in there at times. I think Lorenzo Carter could play some middle linebacker. I think they're going to move players around, but I think Martinez is the one guy that will be in there pretty much in every package.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I think he's your one, guy that you're going to say, yeah, because he really can't play another position. So you're going to see him at middle linebacker. And then, yeah, you could definitely see Carter in there. Who knows?
Yeah. What's going on, Vance Bill? Thanks for popping in the stream. He says it's not up in the air. I missed what he said. It's not up in the air thing. Wait, what did he say? He's saying Conley. I like I said, even if Conley's healthy, I don't think he's going to be playing every down. I think they're going to have different formations for different players. That's just my opinion. We love you too, Raphael. Thank you very much. And Joseph Cuba says, stand up. Nate Ebner, MVP Pro Bowl season. Miss Cleo calls it. There you go. Well, he's definitely going to help out the special teams. That's for sure.
Just real quick. Johnny Munoz says, I have over 1,200 basketball cards from the 90s, a lot of Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. Any idea where I could check the value? Where you check the value of all cards is eBay completed sales, because eBay is going to give you the market value. Don't look at a Beckett. Don't look at a pricing guide. Those have nothing to do with the actual market. Don't look at what people list cards for either, because I could list any card I want for $1 million. Don't mean it's worth $1 million. Look at what they sell for and take the average, and that'll tell you the market value of the card. Yeah,
you can't go by what Beckett says, because that's not what you're going to get for it.
No
yeah.
I just Beckett's too low anyway.
Really?
Beckett come out once a month. And like the stock market, the card market changes every day. You know, guy wins a big game in a Super Bowl card, but Beckett ain't going to reflect that till the next month. So you can't, you know, that's
interesting. Think Thomas will hold up Chase Young, Ryan says.
Yep.
I hope so. I think so. I mean, he went up against the best guys in college. So, yes, I'll say yes.
Chase Young's going to be a bust. He's a Redskin. I'm hoping.
But thank you guys for being here. All right, I'll get this real quick. I saw Element TV write it a bunch. He says, thoughts on Carter Coughlin? He's the guy that I like the most, 6th round and later. And I think that the only reason he dropped to where he did, because I do think he's a good football player, is because he's kind of a guy that has to fit a scheme. And I think he fits the Giants scheme well. I think he's going to be a contributor for the Giants. I'm not going to say he's going to have 8, 9, 10 sacks, but I think he'll carve out a niche for the Giants, and I think he'll contribute on special teams. I like that pick.
Yeah, I think that's the late round pick that everybody thinks has the highest upside is Carter Coughlin. So I can definitely get on board with that as well.
Yeah. And oh man, thank you so much, King 26 Reyes, for the love, man. He says, "What's up, guys? Missed most of the stream, but I'm here now. My coworker tested. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Tested positive for Corona and was still coming to work, but I tested negative. Well,
that's good.
That's great news. Thank you for tuning in the stream. Unfortunately, you came near the end of it, but I really appreciate the love, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber. We're gonna close this out in like 3 or 4 minutes, but thank you so much to everybody for being here. Really do appreciate it. I'll try to get 1 or 2 more questions because I know I try to get as many as I can. And then we're going to call it a night. Flicker says, Chris and the Baddog, even though I'm super young, I'm 14, I could still hang out with you guys at games. Yeah, with your parents. Absolutely, man. And Mark with the $2 day says, night, guys. Mayo and Blake on 3rd and 1 is nice. Yeah, I think that's when you'll see potentially that type of package. Mayo's very good against the run, much like Martinez. Yeah, I don't think Mayo's going to play that much due to the fact that he's
more a special teams guy.
Yeah, he's a special teams guy that's good against the run, but Martinez is as well. So I don't think he'll play much, but in situations like that, yes, you maybe at the goal line, stuff like that. I lost a baseball card with $200. I want to cry. I'm sorry to hear that, Aiden. Melvin, you have a great night, man. Nate says, Chris, if the MLB proposal goes through and they start in July, will you do? Yes, I will do MLB streams. I will do baseball streams. That's what I do. It's not going to be every day, but I'll do like 1 or 2 a week, maybe 2 a week before football season. Once football season, then probably not. But something to get by until football season.
Yeah. Football season, I'll still be doing Yankee playoff streams because we are winning the damn World Series. Mark my words. Number 28 this year, Yankee fans. Damn it, we've lost the Cheaters 3 years in a row. Well, it ain't happening this year. The Yankees and Dodgers are meeting up, and we're beating them in 6, just like we did in 77, just like we did in 78. Watch.
I just hope the Mets go to the playoffs this year. I don't even need a World Series. Just give me playoffs.
Give me a World Series. I haven't had one in forever.
Simon says, God damn, I missed this whole thing because I had to work on a day. I'm sorry to hear that, Simon. You can watch the replay, but I know it's more fun when you're live. But thank you to everybody.
You know, we do it again, Simon. You know where to find us.
Bad Dogs channel next week. But thank you to everybody for being here tonight. It was a lot of fun. We always love doing this. We say the same thing every week, but we try to show you guys as much appreciation as we possibly can. I mean, right now, there's not a lot to talk about. There's no sports going on. We continue to talk about the Giants. You guys continue to listen. You guys continue to show support, watching our videos, hitting the thumbs up, coming into the streams, blocking Sims, the troll. Right. But you guys are the best, man. Thank you guys for all your love, all your support. And thank you guys for, helping us get through this as much as we hope we're helping you get through it. And I always like to say I like to have Bad Dog close out the show. But once again, thank you to everybody for being here. Nate, thank you for being here. Nikki, thank you for being here. Sports expert Kelly, thank you. He says, hey, Dana, thanks for the support on my hype. You got it, man. Nick the Wick, man, have a great night. Thank you to everybody for being here. Big Bang Sports, the fake Sports Live in the ATL. Thank you for being here. Sabrina, thank you for being here. Marjorie Simmons, Christoph Porzingis, diehard Giants fan. Joshua Solomon. Thank you guys. We love you guys. Bad Dog, close it out.
Yeah, I actually just subscribed to Neal Kelly. I didn't realize he had a channel, and I found his Daniel Jones video. I didn't comment on it. I don't always comment on videos, but I definitely have watched those. I didn't know he had a channel, so I just found that this week. So keep up the good work over there. But yeah, it is incredible to me. I've said this before, and it's funny, Chris. I was thinking about this today. If I'm not mistaken, I thought I counted these. Uncle Lou and BVD had their 100th episode this morning of the morning show. Now, Uncle Lou is live 4 days a week, so it got there quick. if I'm not mistaken, this is like number 73 for us.
Wow.
We only do it once a week, but we've been live for.
Well, we've gone twice a week at times.
Right. I think it was 71 or 72. It's up there. So we're closing in on 100 episodes ourselves. What's amazing to me is here it is. We have no sports. It's the end of May. There's no football news. And when I looked at one point, there was 350 people in here.
There was over 400. I saw.
Okay, I didn't even because I'm looking at the StreamYard, so I didn't get to see the number. I just clicked on the YouTube thing and I saw like 357 or something. It's incredible the amount of support you guys give us and watching this channel grow. I still go back once in a while and watch the very first episode of you could see my downstairs in the TV in my background, Chris with the blank wall behind him, and it's a tape show and it's got like 200 views. And the first live stream we did, I think we had 9 people in there. Your support's overwhelming, especially during this tough time when there's just really nothing to talk about. We couldn't do it without you. And you guys are what makes our channels tick. You guys are what makes our channels what they are, because without you, we're nothing. I say it all the time. You're the stars of these channels. We're just the hosts. I can never thank you enough for all your support. It means the world to both of us. The things you guys say, all the compliments, all the appreciation you have for us. Trust me, we feel the same way about you guys. We're nothing without you. So, you guys that get up with me at 5:30 in the morning and hang out to watch me call a Korean baseball. You don't get better than that. We love you guys. Thank you for everything you do for us. Best subscribers and supporters on YouTube. There's no question.
You guys are absolutely incredible. And NYG31, thank you for popping in. We literally just closing out, but I got to answer this. Simon Z, man, thank you so much for love. He said, and he just popped in. I know he says, how do you all predict we use Love and Darnay? Darnay, who knows? We were talking about that at the beginning of the stream. If Baker's not back, maybe one of those two guys gets used on the outside. There's no way that we're going to be able to know that until the season starts, until we see what happens with DeAndre Baker. But if Baker's back, I think that Holmes will definitely be used as the slot guy. And maybe a guy that could fill in on the outside if somebody goes down, but I think he'll be used as the slot guy. Love is a guy I think they're going to move around. I think he's going to play some safety, and I think he'll play some slot as well, and maybe a little bit of the outside. But they're going to be versatile. Both those guys will be pretty versatile. Love more so. But I think Holmes, they're probably looking to be the slot guy if it's a perfect world, if DeAndre Baker is playing.
Yep.
So
I agree.
That's my thoughts there. And diehard Giants fan, man, thanks so much for loving me. I really appreciate it. Mad respect, guys. See you tomorrow, Baddog. That's right. Baddog tomorrow will be on OGR's channel.
I'll be live streaming KBO at 5:25 in the morning, and then I will be on OGR's channel. I believe he said 7 o'clock. I'll talk to him tomorrow. I'll put it in my community notes. And I want all you guys to come over to OGR's channel. Please, we're trying to get him to 1,000 subscribers. The man deserves it. The man works extremely hard. He puts out really good content, and he's a very smart Giants fan. So he knows what he's talking about. He agrees with me 99.9% of the time. So he's fantastic.
He's great.
Well, I'm looking forward to working with him tomorrow because it's not going to be Giants football. As far as I know, he's going to ask me a bunch of different questions. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it because
I'm looking forward to that too. I'm interested to see that.
It's the courtroom, so
I'm excited to pop on there too. And then Saturday I'll be live for my weekly Q&A, guys. So I'll see you guys again Saturday. Baddog will see you guys at 5 a.m. if you're lunatics like him. Yes. And if not, he will see you on OGR's channel. But thank you guys for being here. We love you guys, and you guys all have a great night. Baddog, do what you do.
All right, everyone, have a great night or a great morning, wherever you may be. We'll see you tomorrow. Until the next time of the Entertainment Talking Sports, it's the Bad Diggy Dizzle. We are gone. Peace.